welcome everyone to a little something interesting today. Something interesting just for you guys. I am going to be doing some podcast editing today here on the show, live. And, well, I wanted you guys to enjoy it. This is actually a suggestion by Bill. Bill suggested, he's like, hey, why don't you do, people love this kind of stuff. And I do a lot, and I mean a lot, of podcast editing. So we are going to take some time here, and we're going to run right through. This is segment 1 for episode 152 of the Epic Film Guys podcast. Now, a little background. Justin is the normal co-host of the Epic Film Guys. Justin was not able to be on the show. So I got some backups in. I got Dan of Netflix and Swill. I got John from Who Spiked the Puns. And I got Miles from the Miles and Crawford Variety Hour. All in to join me on the show, which was really, really nice. And what the hell? And just putting the word out here. Boom, 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 boom. Live. The music you're hearing, by the way, is Underwater Beats. Just going to keep that at a low hum in the background there. Just because I like listening to it. But so I've got what you see here is Adobe Premiere. And this is typically what I use for video editing, but I also use it for audio editing as well. I actually really, really like it for exactly that. And this is not set up properly. Let's expand out our tracks here. I want to make sure this actually fits in the scene right too, because I had this all set up and then I closed it and then I restarted it and it didn't look right. Yeah, see, I gotta fix that just a little bit more. Yeah, close enough. Bring in track 4. There we go. So yeah, so again, this is segment 1 of episode 152. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of walk you through editing a podcast and editing specifically this podcast, because this is going to be a little bit of a tricky edit. And that's why I thought when Bill mentioned it to me, he's like, yeah, why don't you do this? I was like, that's actually not a bad idea. It's actually kind of really cool. And it'll kind of give you an insight into, especially, you know, for the Epic Film Guys, how I make decisions about what stays, what goes, and things like that in a show. So I'm going to take my pills that I forgot to take this morning. My fish oil. Heart health plus joint health. Take fish oil, guys. Fish oil is good. Very, very good. There we go. So yeah, why don't we go ahead and jump into proceedings, and I'll kind of show you around here in terms of what I've done and what I've been doing. Now you'll see here that I've already gotten some cuts here in the timeline. Let's actually back this up all the way to the beginning. You'll see that there's already some cuts right here to the timeline. So what this was actually a different section, and I can actually kind of select this whole thing and move it for you so you can see it. There we go. So let me just move this back for just a moment. So if you look at this track here, you'll notice that this is blank and this is blank. This is because I've got the gain dropped on this. This is Dan's track. I'm going to actually label these. Or actually, well, you can't even see the labels on the stream anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But the second track, this is Dan, this is John, and the bottom track is Miles. The top track is me. Dan actually came in way later at this point. Let's see if we can re-engineer this. We're going to set the gain to 0. Yeah, there we go. So you can see this is the same thing as this right here. What I actually did, this is, I don't know what this is. This is like Dan fumbling with a microphone or whatever it is. I'm not 100% sure. But what I decided to do was I decided to mute everybody else out, cut this down, and then bump Dan's response back. So that way it kind of kicked right off of the end of my response. So I'm going to actually just undo, and you can hear it. Alfio quotes. Oh my God, we're watching through Parks and Rec again, and I can't wait until he shows up.
Hey, Nick, you watched The Get Down yet?
Die. And, ladies and gentlemen, a good friend of the show. He's been on the show. Like I said, I did that on purpose because there was actually a kind of a longer thing in here where there was a bunch of talk over about Parks and Rec and everything. And I kind of wanted to get right to that salient point because Dan always gives me crap about not listening to stuff. So I decided to just do whatever. I just bump that up and just kind of fit in there. I do a lot of this kind of stuff when I edit the podcast just because, like I said, I feel like it's important. I feel like it's really, really important. So I'm going to just kind of play with this. I'll be chiming in from time to time. I'll be stopping in from time to time to check on you guys and let you know what's up. But I'm going to mostly let the audio do the talking here. And whenever I'm going to make an edit, whenever I'm going to make a cut, I'll just explain what I'm doing and explain how I'm kind of doing it using Adobe's tools, which you guys can't see. They're kind of off to the side there. I think I have them blocked by the camera and everything else. So you guys can't see them 100%. But I can show you, like, this is the razor tool. So you would use this if you want to just boop, put a little cut right there or whatever. And you've got your arrow tool so you can select things like that. And then there's a bunch of other different tools over here. Like, you've got a zoom tool, but you can also zoom with the keyboard, plus and minus keys. Things like that. So like I said, I'll just kind of explain what I'm doing as we go. But let's go ahead and get into some podcast editing here. Welcome, Bill. Thank you for joining the stream. And Rec again, and I can't wait until he shows up.
Hey, Nick, you watched The Get Down yet?
Die. And, ladies and gentlemen, a good friend of the show. He's been on the show. You've heard him on our Megasodes before. Formerly, still sort of the Now in Technicolor podcast, but he has since joined our good friend Fuzzy Dan over on Who Spiked the Puns. John is here. John, how the hell have you been? We've missed you.
I guess you could say I'm open-minded as hell.
I'm done.
Doing all right. The funniest part is, like, I literally have just watched through the entire series of Parks and Rec in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, see, I have an
Oh, my
11-year-old who recently became obsessed with Parks and Recreation.
So you can actually see this. If you look at Dan's track here, again, Dan's track is the second track. You can see all these minor little bumps and stuff. This is Dan moving around or typing on his keyboard, which he does. Because he likes to drive me insane. So I want to get really zoomed in on this. And what I'll actually do, we'll scroll down the timeline until we're clear of his audio there. We'll leave those couple there. And then I'm going to actually select all the way down until the next time Dan speaks. And we're going to zero that out. We're just kind of trying to make sure that our background noise isn't overwhelming. You can see this is probably, so Miles is talking here. This is probably me and John laughing, maybe Dan laughing right there as well. And, you know, there's going to be some areas in this where there's going to be multiple people talking at the same time, and I've got to eliminate talk over and whatnot. But I'm trying to do this all in Premiere. Usually I use Goldwave to finish my edits, and I'm most likely going to be using just Premiere for this one, just because I got to get this episode done for tomorrow. I don't have time to screw around. So, all right, here we go.
I guess you could say I'm open-minded as hell.
So, you know, this is another one of those things, just because John kind of stammers here just a little bit. So let's take a listen to it slowly as we kind of drag over the timeline.
I guess you could say.
So this is where he starts saying it again for the second time. I can't really get as clean of an edit as I would like there. This is something that I would normally take into Goldwave, and I would hairline that. I'm not really that concerned with it, though, because I kind of want John's initial reaction, because he's laughing at the beginning of it and everything. I want all that in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing I did with Dan's track here. We're going to cut here. We're going to match the cut on Miles's track here and here. And then we're just going to select all of these. Now, it's important to select everything. And let me actually show you one thing really quickly here. All these tracks are synchronized. I had to sync them. I do a little sync in the microphone thing. All these tracks are synced, and they all line up perfectly at the end. I already cut those at the end. I can't move individual tracks to the right on the timeline. everything has to come left, or it has to be from the section I've already edited. I can edit that stuff out just a little bit. So what we're going to do with this, like I said, same thing with Dan. We're just going to push this just a little bit this way. And basically now you're going to see John is going to come in right as I finish talking, as opposed to that wait in there, especially because he's got the stammer in here. He kind of laughs right here. I think this will fit a lot better. How have you been? We've missed you.
I guess you could say I'm open-minded as hell.
I'm done.
Doing all right. Doing all right. The funniest part is, like, I literally have just watched through the entire series of Parks and Rec in the last 2 weeks.
And I don't know what this is that Miles is doing on her track here, but we're just going to go ahead and get rid of it because it's basically inaudible anyway. Probably her shifting around or doing whatever. So we're just going to drop that out of there. Make sure John's audio stays clean.
2 weeks.
Oh, see, I have an
Oh, my
11-year-old who recently became obsessed with Parks and Recreation. Now, that was about 2 years ago, and we actually got the chance to meet Nick Offerman in person at one of his stand-up
hell yeah.
shows.
I'm
And
so
he
jealous.
signed the book to my son, and it said, "Get a job."
Yes. That's fucking great.
It was the best because, and I'm not kidding you, I have an 11-year-old. I mean, he could probably actually be on a podcast with us about Parks and Rec and talk to you about every character because he's so obsessed.
Well,
it's
I
such
just
a great
finally
show.
decided I was going to watch it. I started it.
Now, see, this is kind of an area where I don't necessarily like the talk over here.
Every character
Yeah.
because he's so obsessed.
Well,
it's
I
such
just
a great
finally
show.
decided I was going to watch it.
See, so I can actually, we're going to cut John clip like that. And we're actually going to just take this and we're just going to push John just a little bit further in the timeline here. And we're going to have to re-extend again from the right. We have to pull over. Now you see, this is the same sound as this. So we actually are going to need to, let's just go, we'll select a whole big section here. And we're going to duck the audio out on this. In Premiere, it's minus 96. You guys can't see, there's a little pop-up window that pops up. I don't know why you can't see that. Probably because it's window capture for Adobe, but it doesn't, not the windows that are within it. I don't know why. But anyway, we can move John a little bit further in the timeline here, and now it sounds like this.
Every character because he's so obsessed.
Yeah.
It's such a great show.
Well, I just finally decided I was going to watch it. I started it, and then I couldn't stop watching it till it was finished.
yeah,
I get it.
agreed.
For me, it's still, I mean, let's see, I start talking here as Miles is kind of finishing up and as John is finishing up his thought, even though, and I moved this out of the way a little bit. So we're actually going to take me here and just cut me right out of there. And again, now I can't shift things on the timeline. I've got to just mute them out because you can't move the tracks because the tracks, again, they have to stay in the position they are because they're synchronized.
Until it was finished.
yeah, agreed.
For me, it's still, I mean, season
No,
2 is much
where
better.
I
But stammer at the beginning there and then cut back in.
Yeah, agreed.
For me, it's still, I mean, season 2 is much better, but it's tough to get through Brandanowitz. I do not like Brandanowitz as a character. I think he's just boring as hell. But once they get rid of him and once they bring in Ben and Chris, forget it. Like, the show is a fucking insanely amazing
once
from
you get
seasons 3
into
through
that,
6.
like, it really picks up.
All right, so you see here, I made a couple of cuts along the timeline here. There's, again, just random noise on Miles' track. And there's also some random noise there on Dan's track. Again, I'm going to guess that's him typing because he loves to type and drive me nuts. I love you, Dan. Insanely amazing
Yeah, once
from
you get
seasons 3
into
through
that,
6.
like, it really picks up.
Yeah.
Like,
once
it really
they get rid of
picks up.
Brandanowitz, it's like he's like this dead weight. That's just, now see, this is just John repeating himself, saying it really picks up and kind of repeating what I already said as well. So we're just going to go ahead and duck this out. And now we'll listen to it again. Amazing
Yeah, once
from
you get
seasons 3
into
through
that,
6.
like, it really picks up.
Yeah. Once they get rid of Brandanowitz.
Actually,
even, we're going to do this, and we're actually going to move John just a little bit so he kind of finishes up right as I get to here. Because this is me saying yeah and then continuing on. So we'll leave that right like that, and then we're going to drag this out here. And we're going to, again, have to do the same thing. Oh, we do not need to do that. There we go. All right, so let's... Are there any random noises on John's track? Not really. John's got a pretty clean track. All right, so now let's give it one more listen. Thing from seasons.
Yeah,
3
once you
through
get
6.
into that, like it really picks up.
Once they get rid of Brandanowitz, it's like he's like this dead weight that's just dragging the show down and like holding it back a little bit.
Yeah.
And once again, random peaking noises on her track. I'm not sure what that is. Dan, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining me.
Agreed.
It just takes off after he's gone. So yep, Justin's not here tonight. He is watching.
So
the
welcome
Dark
to
Knight.
Epic Parks and Rec cast with,
right.
with the rest of
Oh
us.
well, I guess we could talk about fucking Eastbound and Down because anytime that we
All right, so let's see here.
Agreed.
It just takes off after he's gone. So yep, Justin's not here tonight. He is watching.
So
the
welcome
Dark
to
Knight.
Epic Parks and
So we're gonna cut. Dan comes in here with a joke. Welcome to Epic Parks and Recast, which I actually like. It's really funny. But I'm already trying to start talking about Justin here. So we're actually going to come in and we're just going to cut me out of here. So Dan's is a little cleaner on its own and drop the audio right out. And I may actually cut this little piece of Dan and just move it back just a bit here. Let's see what this sounds like. Justin's not here tonight.
So welcome to Epic Parks and Rec cast with,
right.
with the rest of
oh
us.
well, I guess we could talk.
All right, so yeah, so that's actually what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to stick boop right there. And we're going to drag this little piece of Dan back to here, right there, and we'll do the drag out from here because there shouldn't be anything on the timeline. There's not. Okay, so now let's give this a listen. It's not here tonight.
So welcome to Epic Parks and Rec cast with the rest of us.
Right. Oh well, I guess we could talk about fucking Eastbound and
That works a lot
Down
better.
because anytime that we think about someone mentions the pills thing, my first thought is, I'm on fire tonight. You know why? Pills.
We haven't even gotten John that drunk yet, ladies and gentlemen. Just wait for it.
Give me a second. One of my cats is going insane.
Oh,
Alrighty.
catty cat.
Is that
Oh.
all right? So this is actually going to end up getting cut wholesale out. Just wait for it. All right. So we can go here, and I'm just going to basically do straight cuts all the way down. And then we're just going to basically, whenever Dan comes back, we're going to come back.
Give me a second. One of my cats is going insane.
Oh,
Alrighty.
catty cat.
Is that? Oh.
I didn't do anything with phallic objects last night.
I mean, he's not here, It's so good it's to know, not Dan. as funny when I play it. But we'll just wait for him to get back. Oh my god! Yeah, we there's just anything finished funny The in here, I'll Office say again this for is an the outtake. umpteenth time. So now we're just watching through
Yeah.
Parks and Rec again for
See,
also
and
the
I can't,
umpteenth
watch
I
The
time.
can't
Office all the way
rewatch.
through
I mean, I've
one time.
rewatched The Office a lot, but I
A
can't.
lot of this, unfortunately, ends up
rewatch-
happening. And I don't know if it was true for Miles as well, but it was true for me. John was very quiet in my ears on recording night. So there were times when he was talking that I didn't realize it until after I stopped.
the final season because I feel it's kind of like
Dan's size
rewatching the final season of MASH
this is where
or
Dan
the final season
comes in here and complains about people that watch Netflix only to rewatch shows they've already seen before instead of watching new Netflix originals.
of 6 Feet Under. Like there's something special in those final seasons that you have to be mentally prepared for in a lot of levels. But that's just me because I'm weird.
As someone who
I
does a
just,
Netflix
I just watch them
podcast,
through.
you're all the worst.
We are all the worst. Fuck it. Fuck it.
we are the original type of Netflix consumer, aka we got Netflix to watch a bunch
No,
of
no,
our
no.
favorite shows
You're not
that
the
popped up
original.
on it.
You are still the current because I'm sure 95% of people just go, oh, Parks and Rec. Oh, The Office. Cool.
But
Well, see,
why
the thing
don't
is,
you guys
I-
subscribe to Hulu?
Well, here's the thing.
Why does it not Hulu and
I
chill?
never watched.
And see, once again, this kind of thing unfortunately happened several times in this episode. Complete shit show. So we're going to eliminate all of that right out here. This is all again just going to
Any of these series, and then I finally just decided to watch it, and I watched them all really quick.
John,
and then
you're
I've
fine.
Never gone back to
Nick
them.
is the one I'm drawing most ire
Okay,
towards
but
because this
but to be fair, these are on in the background shows that I have on while I'm doing other things. I will not passively watch a show I have never seen before. Right now,
Okay.
we're watching through The Handmaid's Tale season 2. That's our like serious show that we're watching right now.
refuse to watch that show.
Wait, what?
I
I
refuse
watched
to
a
watch
bunch
it.
of damn Netflix
I'm not.
shows.
I have to get 4
No.
seasons in before
I don't know why the whispering.
I watch The Handmaid's Tales because I
Fair.
need to really dive into it, and that show scares me.
When the
Yeah,
hell
it's
is the next
impossible to
season
stop
of
watching once you start
Man, I
watching it.
wonder
It's
when
That's
the
what I
next
have
amazing.
heard,
season of
and so
goddamn
that's why I
BoJack's
want
coming
like
out.
4 seasons to be in front of me, so I can like cry, scream, angrily drink, and
I don't even know how long this entire section goes on for.
review the
We
show.
need to just build a train that delivers awards to Elizabeth Moss's
Or
house
Epis
every
for
week.
Family.
Hold on, John. To answer your question, BoJack Horseman season 5 is September 14th.
Yes.
Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you.
I'm glad
BoJack
Dan
Horseman.
heard-
Do you know when like
Jotted
Epis
all
for
that.
Family is coming back out?
That show can burn in hell.
Wait.
Okay.
Fuck off. Fuck off. It's like fucking off Big Mouth. Come on now. Like that show.
hate-
Like there are some shows that are shit, and that was a good shit show.
I
It really was.
I hate Bill Burr. I just hate his delivery and
No, I
everything.
mean it's understandable.
Okay.
I mean not everybody likes
so I
Bill
don't pay
Burr.
attention to that. I know they just showed like a first look for it, but I don't remember what
this is
date was
me
attached to
right
that.
here.
Okay.
I'll do research for you. I'll do you that at least.
This should be.
Hey, thanks, Dan. I appreciate it.
All right, so as I said up there at the top of the show, we are tonight reviewing. All right, so there we go. So now this is where we're going to make our second set of cuts here. There's not really anything in there that I would consider like outtake worthy or anything, or something that I need to save for a rainy day or like an outtakes special episode or whatever. So, boop. And we'll just make sure we select all of our tracks and then slam them back right over here. And there we go. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, just wait for it. All right, so as I said up there at the top of the show. All right, so I need to get rid of me doing this here. All right, so this is one of those things where I think, because I'll take this into, no, I don't need mouse whispering for some reason. I will take this into Goldwave later, like once I export the track and I have it finalized and combined and everything, and I'll fine tune this with an extra cut, just because I want to get rid of me here at the beginning. I want to just have this go seamlessly from me talking here. Just wait for it. All right, so as I said, into as I said, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, what? Why do you... Twitch audiences frustrate me. Do you know why, Dan? Do you know why Twitch audiences frustrate me? My title of this stream is very clearly Inside the Editor Studio, multi-track editing for episode 152. I am literally doing multi-track editing. Why would... Don't click into the video if you don't want to see that. Why are you clicking into the video? Like, that's exactly what it's going to be. Legitimately 100%, that's what it's going to be. Like, did you click into it and you thought multi-track editing meant something different than it actually is? All right, so as I said up there at the top of the show, we are tonight reviewing Chinese Die Hard, a.k.a. Skyscraper, starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson, minus one leg, for reasons. And we're also going to be talking about the 10th anniversary of The Dark Knight. Unequivocally, if not the one of the best superhero films ever made. A film that... Okay, so what I'm actually going to do here, these laughs from Miles, because of Violence, Speed, Momentum. They're off to the dock now. I'm watching the dock. He's playing Fortnite solo. I thought he was playing with randoms again today, but maybe he just didn't get matched up in this game. But yeah, so this is because it sounds a little bit tunnely, and I'm just going to get rid of it. And again, this is Dan typing these little peaks here. Probably me and Dan typing to each other, because we did that a few times during this episode. So there we go. And I'm actually going to be cutting out Dark Knight. So this little piece here has to come out of there. And there we go. And there we go. There we go. Bada. Boom. Now, normally, I wouldn't do an edit in Adobe, but like I said, I want to do as much as possible in Adobe because I'm not going to have a lot of time once I export the file to go into Goldwave and do anything else. So, if I can fix it in Adobe, I will fix it in Adobe. Of The Dark Knight, unequivocally, if not the one of the best superhero films ever made, a film that has changed the genre literally forever. Now, see, we're going to talk about this in segment 2 of the show. Segment 2 of the show is kind of us discussing the legacy of The Dark Knight, and it turns into this whole, like, I don't even know how I'm going to edit that fucking disaster, Dan. Segment 1 should still be pretty okay. Segment 2 is where the show really fucking came off the rails. You've changed things forever. And we're also, tonight...
Jesus.
What the hell? The meat of the show...
iPhone.
Damn. All right, so all this is going to go. All this stuff, I don't even know what that is. All this is gone. Goodbye. I do not want loud, oh, I dropped my phone noises. Put your phone down when you're recording a podcast, and you wouldn't have these problems. Just saying. There we go, saving the project. Yeah, we're actually going to clip here and here. Because Dan also said something very audibly. He's like, whatever the hell Dan said. And, I mean, it made sense because it was exceedingly loud. So, all right, so let's see. The meat of the show, damn, we are going to be ranking the Batmen. So all of the Batmen. Now, this can be animated. This can be live action. This can be... The timeline shifts if, you know, it moves if the little slider there moves off the screen. So, there we go. All right. Oh, we are going to be ranking the Batmen. So all of the Batmen. Now, this can be animated. This can be live action. This can be whatever other iteration. I don't think there are other iterations besides live action and animated. There really are. So, yeah, we're going to rate through the Batman. And...
Well, unless you count comics, but that's a different thing.
Yes, it is. Although the answer
but
for best
iteration, but it's still an iteration of Batman.
Though the best iteration of Batman from comic books, Scott Snyder.
See, I'm gonna.
Oh, dude, he had such.
I'm gonna duck my audio out here, and I'm gonna bump John back just a little bit here. I'll actually bump this entire thing back just a touch. So we're gonna actually have to clip out a little piece of my track right here. And we're going to bump this thing back. Miles, I think we might actually duck that laughing out of there if it drowns out John. So see, there we go. Through the Batman.
Well, unless you count comics, but that's a different thing.
Yes, it is. Although the answer
but it's
for
still
best
iteration, but it's still an iteration of Batman.
Though the best iteration of Batman from comic books, Scott Snyder.
Oh, dude, he had such a great run.
Dan, who the hell?
That was
Scott
such
Snyder?
a good story.
Sorry, welcome to Epic Comic Guys. Dying to fire, Nick. Comics are good.
Comics are great.
The sound effect's still
some
playing.
Some of your favorite fucking shows and movies have come from comics.
No way. I had no idea. Are you serious? Like, should I start
I don't have
funding
a
a
fucking
comic
blue
book store?
All right, John, I'm not seeing an official date yet. All I'm seeing is that it was renewed
We're
for
gonna
season 3.
cut that out. Of
Okay, well, that's cool.
And ladies and gentlemen, as you no doubt heard there, that is just. It doesn't add anything to the show, really.
Comics are great.
The sound effect's still
some
playing.
of your favorite fucking shows and movies have come from comics.
I don't have a fucking blue waffle.
All right, John, I'm not seeing an official date yet. All I'm seeing is that it was renewed for season 3.
About
Okay.
BoJack Horseman, I think. So we're actually going to wholesale take all those. We'll figure out how to bring this back here.
I don't have a fucking blue waffle.
We're gonna cut out Caleb talking about.
All
a
right,
blue
John,
waffle.
I'm not seeing an official date yet. All I'm seeing is that it was renewed for season 3.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
And ladies and gentlemen, as you no doubt heard there, yeah, that makes a good cut point right there. There we go. Backing tracks that you're hearing right now, underwater beats. And ladies and gentlemen, as you no doubt heard there, this soundboard will be popping in I don't know and what out this- periodically tonight, just to let us know this mess here. Like, this is Dan's track. I don't know what this little mess here is. It's not actually audible. Like, if I mute out all the other tracks, what it's up to. Oh, it's Dan typing.
Fuck you, Loy Sauce.
You know what? Out of context with my track muted, that sounds fucking hilarious. So we'll mute out Dan's typing there. Normal episodes of the show, I do not do the kind of edit that I'm doing on this show. This is just because there's a bunch of talk over in it. Miles was really drunk, so she was just all over the place. And we ran for way too long, so I want to make sure I get in here and really give this thing a good spit polish, so that way we're still delivering a quality product to the audience. That's what it's all about. Ladies and gentlemen, as you no doubt heard there, this soundboard will be popping in and out periodically tonight, just to let us know what it's up to. Just because Loy Sauce posited last week that it was gone forever and that I could no longer use it to haunt him, but I have this to say to
Fuck
that.
you, Loy Sauce.
That's a lot of cum.
Also that.
Fuck you, Loy-
And what I'm actually going to do, just because I want you to be able to hear both clips, we're going to take this, we're going to bump this a little bit. Actually, let me move that mark back just a little bit more. There we go. And we're going to yoink. We're going to drag my track back out and then mute from there. Because I want you to be able to hear both of these. To say to
Fuck
that.
you, Loy Sauce.
That's a lot of cum.
Also that. Thank you, John. So why don't we, or actually, you know what I should do? I should rearrange the order of those. So let's move this back and remove all the cutsies. And we're actually going to cut it and move it closer. So we got to get rid of this guy. Yoink. Now, again, we have to make sure we cut the end of the track off before we move this. Boink. And we're going to move... Oh, shit. Made that cut too early. We're going to move John a little bit further in the timeline here. And we're just going to have him saying it. So he's finishing up as I'm saying also that. So there we go. So let's extend this out to finish that up. There we go. We're going to mute that off. And same thing. Let's extend this backwards because this should all be blank. Yes, it is. All right. But yeah, this, to me, when I do an edit that's this thorough, it's all about construction and it's all about fitting things in here. If there's a couple of funny things at once, I don't want one of them to override the other. Because you as an audience member, I know listening to it as an editor, I know what both of them are. But you as an audience member, all you're going to hear is a fucking audio collision. You're not going to hear anything. So I don't want to do that. This to say to that.
That's a lot of cum.
Fuck you, Loy Sauce.
Also that. Thank you, John. I think that works a
So-
lot better, actually, in a kind of comedic sense. You know what I should do? You know what I should actually do, and I didn't do it earlier. There we go. I actually forgot. I should have posted that in the dumpster earlier. If any other fans are out and about, want to come in here and check out the edit. Thank you, John. So why don't we, lady and gentlemen, jump over into a little thing that we love to do every single week here on the Epic Film Guys podcast. As soon as the video review starts and I do a sync.
Remember, everybody clap.
No, I don't need anybody else to do a sync. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. There's my video check. All right, so now we actually cut the What Are You Drinking segment from the show and upload it as a separate video to YouTube. So that way just the beer reviews are isolated out by themselves. So I actually can't content edit any of this. It has to stay exactly the same for now. I'll come back in and I'll do a content on it later after I just make sure everything is merged together properly. Yes, Dan? Epic Film Guys podcast. As soon as the video review starts and I do a week here on the Epic Film Guys podcast. As soon as the video review. So we're going to cut this right here. Because again, this goes to the whole video section. LOL. Thanks. As soon as the video review starts and I do a sync.
Remember, everybody clap.
No, I don't need anybody else to do a sync. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. There's my video check. So I think what I'm actually going to do is we're going to bump this up on the timeline like there. So then when this compiles, it's going to leave a gap there. Hey, Bill. It's going to leave a gap there where I'll know exactly where it is. I don't have to try to worry about remembering timestamps or anything like that. And then I'll do the same thing at the end of this so it isolates the What Are You Drinking portion, and I will fix that later in Goldwave. But as soon as the video review starts and I do a sync. Because this has to sync with the video, so I have to kind of just leave this as is the whole time. I can mute out like some background noises, but that's pretty much it. This has to stay the same otherwise.
Remember, everybody clap.
No, I don't need anybody else to do a sync. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. There's my video check. All right, so it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for What Are You Drinking?
I'm back. You can rally. Woo! Give me a beer.
All right, and we're going to start with the EFG newbie. She's never been on the show before, but she's drinking a goddamn good beer. So we're going to pitch it over to her first. Miles, what do you got there?
I've got a Left-Handed Brewing Company milk.
More Dan typing noises here. We're actually going to get rid of these. This is the only stuff I can actually edit out of this physically. It has to stay this way until, like I said, I'll do an actual edit if there's anything that does need to be cut from this segment in Goldwave later. Because I have to have it untouched to be able to sync it to the video properly.
Stout Nitro America Stouts. Ooh! It is delicious, though. I'm not even going to fucking lie. Love this beer.
I made a sauce for meatloaf with that over on the Restaurant podcast.
Holy shit. Hold on. Wait. I need you to stop. I need you to send that recipe because I'm making meatloaf on Friday.
What episode was that? That was like episode 5, I think, of the Restaurant. I'll send it your
whatever
way.
it is,
I'll
you need to find it and send it. Now, usually, I'd like to drink liquor, but my liquor ran out, so I have beer. But this is good stuff.
And somebody who I know has beer and liquor on reserve just in case he needs, because he's prepared. John,
Good job, John.
what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking a peanut butter milk stout from, damn, who the fuck is this from? Tailgate Brewing Company. That's
Damn, who the fuck is this from?
I love John so
Now,
much.
does it actually taste like peanut butter?
Copyright
I
Dan
need
Brennick.
to know, as a peanut butter lover, does this actually, is it good? Or is it shit? I need, we need
I
feedback
mean, it's pretty
here.
good.
Yeah?
I like it.
Do you think you could eat that with a jelly sandwich and it would be just as delicious?
If you ate it with an actual peanut butter and jelly
I
sandwich,
think
yes,
he's really
it would be
thinking about going to
delicious.
make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich right
Yeah,
now.
I'm thinking about making that peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Damn it.
He'll dunk one of the slices of bread So far, this segment into it. So is largely Tailgate Brewing, you
fine.
said, John?
Yeah, it's Tailgate Brewing Company. It's 5.8.
Nice.
Nice.
Nice. All right, our very own director Brennick cannot drink in his house for reasons.
Good for you.
We're gonna
So-
leave it at that.
We love you, Dan. So I am drinking tonight, and I actually this was a
Oh.
15 pack I picked up for about $18.
15
And-
pack. Who?
Oh,
Thank you. I like
Yingling.
your video cam shows it says who makes a 15 pack.
As a matter of fact, I might have an idea now.
I don't even want to know what the hell you're thinking about, John. I am drinking 21st Amendment Brewing's No, that Down is to not Earth Dina Session Marie. IPA, or I should say I was, because, man, I'm getting down there at the bottom. Yeah, they sell this in a 15 pack, one of those, like, overpacked 12 packs or whatever.
A 15 pack.
Yeah, a 15
Okay.
pack of beers. I'm not the one that fucking packages, John. What the fuck you want from me?
Okay,
We're
15.
blaming
Okay,
you.
that's-
Always
hashtag
you.
boycott 21st Amendment.
Oh my god, a lot of breweries do it actually. Founders does it, Southern Tier does it, a lot
Hashtag
of
boycott
breweries do it.
overstuffed fucking packs. It's 12, 24, 6, and that's it.
Hey, listen, you know what? It's
Oh,
5
man, there's an 18.
different beers.
There's
I did not realize that the number of beers that go into a pack was such a hot button issue for people. I don't know. It's 3 of 5 instead of 3 of 4. So I will take one extra beer. You know, I like this so far, content-wise, though. I don't really think I'm going to have to cut much of anything out of What Are You Drinking? I think the segment, if I remember, was about 5.5 minutes long. So that should take me to about somewhere in this neighborhood over here. Actually, probably right about here, because this is probably me talking about my beer, and then it would be over. Beer in a pack. This is actually really, really good. It's a session IPA, so it's very light, very drinkable. It's got very light kind of citrusy notes up front. It's not anything that's like super pungent or anything like that. And it's the kind of IPA that you can drink on a hot summer night like this, which is just nasty, shitty, dirty, filthy, disgusting.
I don't have a fucking blue waffle.
Exactly, Caleb.
But we're going in a different direction, such as
There's 3
that
dudes and
guy.
1 chick here, and the 3 of you have mentioned blue waffles more than I have. And that,
Caleb keeps doing it.
I mean, there's
Caleb's
a problem
the one
here.
making the mentions.
I'm
Nick,
just.
Caleb already
Look,
ruins
I'm
my
gonna
show
go to the
enough. I
restroom
don't
and
need
let
him ruining
all of
your
you
show,
talk
too.
about blue waffles while I go take a beer break. So BRB, right back on that
Honestly,
one there, folks.
if the listeners haven't heard of a blue waffle, while you're at work tomorrow, you should take the time to look
Yes.
this up on
Yes,
your work
on
computer.
the work internet.
Do not Google
Actually,
blue waffle.
no, you're right. Don't Google it. Ask your boss. Email your
Your
manager, your
boss.
direct supervisor, and the CEO of your company. Yo, what's a blue waffle,
Yeah, the
dog?
CEO of the company doesn't know.
He might.
So yes, there we go, ladies and gentlemen.
If you
If
work
you're
for
watching
Tesla,
this on
maybe.
YouTube,
I feel like
go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and hit that little bell icon so you can be notified whenever we go live.
Elon Musk
Every single
definitely
week, whenever we do What Are You Drinking on the Epic Film Guys podcast, we're going to drop these video reviews for you guys, just for you guys.
So this will be also when I go in and do the finalized edit on Goldwave later. This will all come out because this is only going to be for the YouTube audience that I'm going to actually cut the clip out for.
And we really, really hope that you enjoy them. And I just trying to get us out there more, especially in terms of beer. We've been drinking beer on the show ever since we started the show, even pre-EFG days. We love craft beer. We love talking about craft beer. So we may as well get it in there for you. Okay? So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell so you can be notified. All right, and once she gets back, we'll roll into the next segment, and I can stop my recording right there. It's nice and clean.
All right, so there we go. So that is our cutoff point for the track. And then we're going to have to roll back into the actual episode, and then I'll leave a gap here.
It's nice and clean. It's like 5, 6, 7 minute videos for What Are You Drinking? It's perfect.
You're nice and clean.
Those of you who are watching, thank you very, very much. I really, really do appreciate it. If this is the kind of thing you're interested in, again, this was Bill's idea. He actually suggested it, and I was like, you know what? I've got to do a more thorough edit on this, and this will kind of give you insight into how I make some of the editing decisions that I make, at least, in terms of the Epic Film Guys. So, yeah, if this is the kind of thing you'd like to see more of,
hit that follow button right up there. And, you know, if you love the channel, subscribe. You see over there, Nightbot is giving it away. Stickers, free stickers for all $5 donos and subs. It is a good suggestion, Bill. I really think it is. It's you know, especially for people who don't know podcast editing and who don't know how to do podcast editing. I think it actually might be something useful. I'll send this over to YouTube as well once it's done. So yeah, thank you very, very much. If you're watching this on YouTube later, hit that subscribe button and ring that little bell down there so you're notified whenever I post a new video. Let's get back into this. And then, like I said, once the show kicks back in proper, I'll cut that gap out, and then we'll be back into our normal kind of editing mode.
Yes.
So fresh and so clean. Oh, Nick, BT Dubs.
Vagisil can be used more than once a week. It can be used daily.
Nick, BT Dubs, for whatever reason, my left channel is recording at a higher volume than my right channel, and I didn't want to stop, so just be aware of that.
Them. Yep, I'll remix them. My Audacity did that once, too. I have no idea why.
I completely forgot about that, Dan, but when I passed it through Levelator, I mean, you can see that your right channel is still a little bit lower, but when I do the final mix of the show, I mix down to mono anyway, so it'll fix it anyway.
It did it when we recorded yesterday, and I don't know what happened. But once I stopped recording and then started recording again, it fixed itself, so...
Yeah, I'll just mix them together. That's fine.
All right. Just so you know.
I love you, Dan.
I've had mine do that to me, where it's like just in the middle of recording and then just stop.
I don't know what happened here.
Technology is failing. Fucking Discord betrayed me last night. Fucking Audacity's betraying me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I ended up doing it either. Like, my mic automatically adjusted itself and did it automatically. I have no idea why it was doing it, but all of a sudden it just completely dropped me out of one channel on Audacity. I have no idea why it was doing that.
These fucking things, guys.
Yeah,
I'll
blend
mine
your
like
tracks
literally
together,
took the mic and went from like where I had it set to like full blast, and I was like, okay.
These are those 5x5 magnets. These things are so freaking nice, and I mean, look at they're pretty damn big. I mean, like I said, 5x5, and just man, Sticker Mule just does such good freaking work. But we had like $30 in credits, and 2 of them were about to expire, so I was like, wow, what am I going to do with these credits? And let me see what these 5x5 magnets look like. These things are baller as hell, dude. And this is big enough that you could just basically throw this on like anything. I think I'm going to throw one on my car, and like you can actually see this. Like you can see what this is. I didn't do the drawing yet for the Twitter and the Facebook ones, Bill. If you really want, I could just send you one because I have a whole stack of them here. Well, I shouldn't say a whole stack of them. I ordered 10, and they gave me 12. So I still have 11 left. I got to save a couple of them for Justin. I'm going to give 2 of them away, and then, you know, we'll just have the rest for future prizes and stuff like that. These are just, they're so nice. They turned out so nice. So if you want to win prizes, all you've got to do, mostly, I'm going to try to do this more often too, is join the Hopesters Dumpster. It's facebook.com/groups/Epic Film Guys. It's our Facebook fan group. Join the Hopesters Dumpster because I do special giveaways in the Hopesters Dumpster for our fans all the time, or at least I want to do more and more and more of them. Boom. You know, there's a thing over there in the Hopesters Dumpster right now, actually, where you can win one of these bad boys. 5x5 EFG film reel magnet. These are just really, really nice. So, like I said, listen to win, watch to win, join the fan group. Just, you know, support the Epic Film Guys. You can also vote for us right now over on the Podcast Awards. Go ahead and nominate us. podcastawards.com. If somebody could throw that over in the chat, please. podcastawards.com. Nominate us in the TV and film category. And, you know, who knows? It's probably a really, really long shot to try to win anything. But, hey, to see our name in there would probably be pretty nice. So, all right, let's get back into the edit here. We're still waiting for Miles to come back. This is all going to get cut.
Hey, no.
All right, so we're going to roll back in here. Now we've done the video portion.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I rolled up the video portion
I had to
anyway.
go potty. Shit happens.
No worries.
I'll get more beer on the break, too. All right, so I'll roll back in here in 5, 4, 3, 2.
All right, and all right, so there we go. All right, and we've got a lot of stuff to get. All right, we're gonna get rid of me saying "all right" and because I don't like that prompt there. Nope. I hate having that little scroll bar there because I always screw up and cut the wrong thing. So again, these gone. So now we're back into regular editing mode. We're going to leave another gap here. So when I do this later in Goldwave, I know that that little section is the audio for the, that right there is the audio for the video portion of the show. All I got to do is clip it out, and then I can just do the little cleanup edits on either side of it to fit it in where it needs to be fit in. All right, and we're actually going to save our project here. This right now is about 33 minutes total runtime. It was about 38 when I started, so we've already eviscerated 5 minutes out of this, and that's not including the giant gaps here. Well, they're not giant. They're like 10-second, 15-second gaps, but we've got a lot of stuff to get through on the show tonight, especially when we talk about the Batman. And when we talk a little bit about the Dark Knight, that'll be a little bit later in the show. So right here, first segment, right up front, Dan, it's time to talk about Chinese Die. So, here's the thing, and I should have done this a different way when we recorded it so I didn't make so much work for myself in editing. I should have just told John and Miles, hey, just mute your mics, chill, kick back, let me and Dan knock this thing out real quick and get it done. But instead we didn't do that, and then there's different points in time where both John and Miles cut in during our review, and it just kind of meanders for a while. So I want to make sure I eliminate that, and we're going to get this audio down to a nice, succinct amount of time. Question for our fans, for our listeners, if you're listening out there, have you seen the movie Die Hard, starring Bruce Willis? I was waiting,
Yes.
like, as if they're going to answer me.
Oh,
Yes.
do you want an actual answer?
No. The answer is yes.
When my parents were killed by George Hill,
The Rock says
Die Hard.
to answer to the skyscraper.
Die Hard was the movie I watched on repeat.
Yes.
When my parents were killed by George Hill, Die Hard. Die Hard was the movie I watched on repeat.
All right, so we actually need to back up Dan's second response here because he stopped because of Miles. So we're going to ditch that. And we're going to clip that, move this back, and we're going to extend that out. And that's because I already zeroed out the audio in that. It's just empty now.
By George Hill. Die Hard was the movie I watched on repeat.
Oh my god. So if you've ever
You
seen...
got me.
Alright, so once again we've just got... This is just dead shit space right here. Nope. I like this too because it kind of... The razor tool just kind of... You see how it snaps that line in there? Asking me if I want to cut it in line with those. Yes, I do. Makes it much easier. Boink. And then... There we go. And we'll move everything over like so.
Repeat.
Oh my god! So if you've ever
You
seen,
got me through some really hard times.
if you've ever seen, going to do the same thing here that I was doing before, when I have to bump these back just a little bit, because my response, because I bumped Dan's response back, Dan, like me waiting to and then responding as if I was laughing with my microphone off, and then it suddenly turned on. So I need to actually fix that. So we're going to delete just a little tiny chunk here, and we're going to back this up just like so. So now...
Watched on repeat.
Oh my god. So if you've ever
You
seen...
got me through some really hard times.
If you've ever seen the movie Die Hard, again, starring Bruce Willis...
Wait,
Then
hold
you
on.
have
Can you
seen-
actually listen to this podcast without having to watch the movie Die Hard?
I mean...
No.
Thank you. All right. we're
Pretty
cool.
sure the answer is no.
Okay. All right.
Die Hard's fine. Boom.
There, I said it. Paul's going to fly here. Actually, Paul, I'm going to rate Skyscraper higher than Die Hard because Paul said he will fly to America and murder me.
Skyscraper is a 10 out of 10.
Wait,
Then
hold
you
on.
have
Can you
seen-
actually listen to this?
All of it. Just all of it. Die Hard's fine. Boom. There, I said it. Paul's going to fly here. Actually, Paul, I'm going to rate Skyscraper higher than Die Hard. All right, me stammering in there. We're going to actually cut right to this. Like so. Be Die Hard. Again, starring Bruce Willis. I'm going to rate Skyscraper higher than Die Hard because Paul said he will fly to America and murder me.
Skyscraper is a 10 out of 10.
So if you've seen Die Hard, then you have seen Skyscraper starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Nev Campbell, among others. Dan, now John and Miles did not see this film. They'll pop in here anyway, just because this movie, it's Die Hard. It's legitimately Chinese Die Hard. It's Die Hard if it took place in China. The end. But Dan, tell us what the movie's all about.
Former FBI hostage negotiator.
I don't know what happened there. I think Dan was making a face or doing something on cam. All right, so we're going to have to do the same thing here. We're going to have to bump Dan back, and we're going to actually see these sections here. See, there's little tiny peaks and pops here. In here for, is this John laughing? It's, I don't know what the hell that is. So we're going to bop back here, and we're going to just kill the audio for both of those tracks. Tell us what the movie's all about. We're going to have to do the same thing I just did with Dan before and bump this whole thing back.
Former FBI hostage negotiator. Will Sawyer. Brave.
Is that enough of a lead? Yes. Sorry, so there we go. And nope, I need to...
Former FBI hostage negotiator.
Thank you, Dan, for reviewing the entire film, or most of the film. Eventually, it got old to me. I was like, no, we can't. This has to stop. All right, so we're going to just back this up. My line right to the same thing right there. And then... Dan, tell us what the movie's all about.
Former FBI hostage negotiator.
See, that's almost a little bit too far. So we're going to go like so. And we're going to... And we're going to just close in on this just a little bit. And maybe right there. There we go. Dan, tell us what the movie's all about.
Former FBI hostage negotiator.
Now that's perfect.
Will Sawyer. Brave man for his country. After losing his leg in a hostage situation.
Now, see, this is one of those things that bugs me about my acid reflux is my breathing that picks up on the microphone. Unfortunately, I have long ago given up trying to eliminate it from the podcast completely because there's just no way to do it. I just breathe too heavily. But I do like, if there's really bad parts, I would like to pull them out.
Brave man for his country. After losing for his country. Here's next.
We're just going to wholesale clip and drop.
For his country. After losing his leg in a hostage situation, he becomes a private security consultant for most likely the most richest man in the world to do something with his skyscraper. It is during this time that a group of mercenaries takes over the skyscraper and does things. Hijinks ensue.
As Loy Sauce would say, hijinks. Oh my god, Dan, I love you. All right, so now Dan's got some random noise here on the track, probably typing, so we're going to get rid of that while I go. As Loy Sauce would say, hijinks.
Oh,
ensue.
Hydrate bot's yelling at me.
I mean, it's...
I have an issue with this movie.
I might clean this up just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
I have an issue with this movie.
This... It's...
I have an issue.
Ensue. Yeah, I mean...
So, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut here. And we're going to move, like, literally all of this stuff out of here. And we're going to cut here, 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 and there. So we're going to actually cut this wholesale. Boink. And we're just going to have this as Dan angrily jumping in with an issue with this movie as I'm just, because that's just me laughing. So, and then the rest of it was just me. I don't even know what I was doing. So we're just going to cut right back in and let Dan keep going.
Ensue. Yeah, I mean,
I have an issue with this movie.
So it's much, much cleaner now.
This, it's aggressively dumb. Like, it's that kind of in-your-face dumb where you're really upset about how dumb the entire premise is. Like, imagine if instead of Hans Gruber trying to steal gold or whatever they were doing in Die Hard, it's been too many years since I've seen Die Hard. I don't care. No, wait, was it treasury bonds or was it...
I still don't remember which it was.
Wait, was it treasury bonds or was it gold? Gold. I don't care.
So we're actually going to clip this whole thing right out of here as well. Back this all up. Less just kind of dumb pauses. I don't know, Nick. What was that?
I heard. No, wait, was it treasury bonds or was it gold? Gold was 3.
Nobody cares.
I can't remember. But if instead of Hans
They
Gruber
were
and them-
attempting to steal a thing.
I
I
hate
had
you.
to stop them.
Shut up, Dan. So
Three was the gold.
yeah, 3 was the gold. So instead of Hans Gruber trying to break in there for reasons that are completely different than anything else.
Wait a minute. What? What was... What?
Yeah, 3 was the gold.
I like gold.
It's one of those things that you don't ever hear until you're doing like a listen back like this and you actually have multi-tracks and you can mute them out.
Stop them.
Shut up,
Leaving
Dan.
it in.
So
Three was the gold.
yeah, 3 was the gold. So instead of Hans Gruber trying to break in there for reasons that are completely different.
We're moving that just so other people can hear it because, oh my God, that's hilarious. So yeah, so once again, we're just going to do a little trim ski. And we're going to bump this right back to right after John's done talking. Like so. Merge that back out. And then we're going to just drag and extend that because that timeline's blank after that.
Three was the gold.
Yeah, 3 was the gold. So instead of Hans...
And we're going to cut me out of this and just let Dan have it. Because there's no reason for me to say 3 was the gold when John said 3 was the gold. So here, let's give it a final listen here.
I
I
hate
had
you.
to stop them.
Shut up, Dan. So
Three was the gold.
I like gold.
So instead of Hans Gruber trying to break in there for reasons that are
I think I will boost the audio on that too. And we're just going to adjust it by, say, 10. might be a little bit too loud.
Gold.
I like gold.
So instead of Hans Gruber trying to break in there for reasons that are completely different than anything else, you know, they decided in this iteration of Die Hard, we'll call it Chinese Die Hard, or
Rush
Rock
Hour.
Die Hard, Die Hard Rock, or whatever.
We call it Rush Hour. What the fuck? What does that have to do with anything?
Rock Die Hard, or we're actually going to cut this because this is me stammering over like, what else can we call it? We'll call it Chinese Die Hard, or we're just going to say we're going to call it Chinese Die Hard. Rock Die Hard Rock, or whatever.
Technically, it's like Rush Hour 2.
Rush Hour with The Rock.
You know what it actually should be called? Rock Hard.
We're keeping that. We're keeping that one in there. Oh my god. And then I'm actually going to do one more thing with this as well. Give me a sec here. I got to start muting tracks. Bam. 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 And we're going to mute. Actually, let me just do a multi-select here. Oh, that was... I selected Dan's track. I needed John's. There we go. Otherwise, Dan's track would have been really quiet. You were on fire right there. That was hilarious. It was the Batman voice that did it, Dan. The Batman voice gave you the strength. And we'll actually dip the gain out on that guy as well. And now, so now we've just kind of got this dead area here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the whole dead area. Like so. Well, actually, I don't even need to cut those like that because I can just do this like so. And boom. Why did I mute the audio on those if I was just going to drop them out? Never mind. Idiot, man. All right, so let's just back this up and boom. Oh, because I do still need a little piece. That's why. I do still need a little piece. All right, so there we go. And those should both be... Nope, she comes in there, and then I come in there. All right, so that's still going to be muted. Boom, and boom. I almost hit plus 96. All right, so now let's listen to it. They decided in this iteration of Die Hard, we'll call it Chinese Die Hard.
You know what it actually should be called? Rock Hard.
Duh, boom. Print, sold.
I
love you, Dan. That was so good. So now, what I'm actually going to do, because there's no laughing after Dan's gold member thing, and I think it needs a laugh. So we're going to artificially, we're going to literally plant it in there. And we're going to do it like so. So now I had to do this like a really dumb way, and I don't like it, but... I can't even see that. Disappears. There we go. So let's drop it like right here for now. I don't know where that actually has to go. Is it right here?
It actually should be called.
No, it's right here. It's right here.
Die Hard was the movie I watched on repeat.
Right here? For me.
Skyscraper is a 10 out of 10. I have an issue with this movie.
This
was the gold.
I like gold.
So instead of Hans... Yeah, so we're actually going to take this. And we're going to stick this... shit. I don't know what that is. But we're going to overwrite it. And we're going to give her a laugh here. And I actually need to fix these points here. There we go. And there we go. So
three was the gold.
I like gold.
So instead of Hans Gruber trying to break in there for reasons that are completely different, Think anybody will notice it's the same laugh literally like a minute later? If I felt like it, I would take it from like way later in the episode or something, but nah, I don't care. Only those of you who are watching will know.
3 was the goal.
I like gold.
So instead of Hans Gruber trying to break in there for reasons that are completely different than anything else, you know, they decided in this iteration of Die Hard, we'll call it, this is the kind of thing like, and I know people have different philosophies on editing podcasts. I myself have applied different philosophies of editing podcasts over a long period of time. For instance, I don't cut out all of Justin's ums anymore. Same thing with Loy Sauce's ums, repeats, and stammering. I just don't do it anymore. But there is something to be said for flow. And this is a special kind of case because this was a clusterfuck in a lot of ways. Like, there was just way too much over talking. There was way too much different stuff going on all at the same time, and it just didn't kind of come together as a cohesive show. So it just needs this. It needs this extra stuff. It needs this extra TLC. This, and I will always contend, no matter what anybody says, that it is in the editing room that a great podcast, a great film, a great book, whatever, are born. Because you can have the core idea, you can come up with the core idea, and you can put down the core track, make the core film, whatever it is. But it's editing it together that really, really brings it home. And I think that these two scenarios perfectly illustrate that, because this whole thing was, there was so much extra jumbled audio in here. We shift a couple things around, we move a laugh in there, and then we really let Dan's lines punch just like this.
The gold.
I like gold.
So instead of Hans Gruber trying to break in there for reasons that are completely different than anything else, you know, they decided in this iteration of Die Hard, we'll call it Chinese Die Hard.
You know what it actually should be called? Rock Hard.
Duh, boom, print, sold. They decided to
Would've
make
been a solid
Copyright
name.
infringement, bitches.
the building was like a main. Yeah, okay. See, so now once again, this immediately just, I don't know what this is from John, but then again, over talk. So we're gonna eliminate all of this, and I'm probably just gonna actually trim this whole thing right out of here after I speak right here. Boom, print, sold. They just, so there we go. So we're actually gonna cut this right here along all track lines. And then we'll come back in on my next line here. They decided to
Would've
make
been a solid
Copyright
name.
infringement, bitches.
the building was like a main character in this movie. There we go. So first things first, let's get rid of the actual piece there. And then we're going to multi-select these guys, and we're going to dip them all out at the same time. Goodbye. And we're going to bump this whole thing back like so. Print, sold. The building was like a main character in this movie. Like, imagine if like Nakatomi Plaza was a building. Now,
Are you on drugs?
shut up, Dan. Imagine if Nakatomi Plaza was an actual like sort of character in the movie. And that's kind of would get you closer to what Skyscraper's about. So, riddle me this, Batman. It looks about. So, riddle me this. We're going to cut out my little flub here where I say answer, because I want it to go straight to riddle me this, because Dan, of course, is using the Nolan Batman voice, because obviously we're talking about the 10th anniversary of The Dark Knight. So, yeah, we gotta make sure we keep that in there. But I want to go straight to riddle me this. So, riddle me this, Batman. It looks like he's frozen,
Clogging
doesn't
my
it?
urethra. Welcome.
What?
Welcome to the stream.
So, riddle me this, Batman. It looks like he's frozen, doesn't it?
What is wrong with you?
He is. Oh.
Okay, so this was, I think Dan's audio froze.
Batman.
So yeah, Dan's audio, or Dan's video froze or something like that, or either that or he was pretending he was, no, that was when you were pretending you were frozen. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, how do you get tape clogging your urethra? Welcome to the stream. Are you a podcaster?
It looks like he's frozen, doesn't it?
What is wrong with you?
He is. Oh,
It really looks
This
like
movie
he was
has
frozen
no
for a
depth
second.
to it whatsoever.
So, riddle me this there, Bat Dan. Why is I like Bat Dan better than Batman. Batman. So we're going to boom, 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 undo those. And we're actually going to take this second one that I do here. So, riddle me this there, Bat Dan. Boom, boom. And we're going to just lift wholesale. Goodbye. And just bump all of this back like so. Total runtime is now down to about 32 minutes and 13 seconds. Editing philosophy. Thank you, Bill. When I tried to ejaculate, my penis had just puffed up like a balloon. Oh my god. That, ouch. Like, ouch. That one deserves something special. Here we go. Let's see. Let's give it a, let's see here. Oh my god. No, wait. Oh. Oh, never mind. Hang on. I don't have to do that at all. Computer. Stop the nonsense. What just happened? Stop that. Go away. Computer's being all weird now. Alright. There we go. Alright, so that you've earned this.
I sucked a dick last night.
There it is. It actually isn't painful at all. So, riddle me this there, Bat Dan. Why is there's a
No
whole
one laughed,
fire
so I
and
laughed
security
at
and safety
myself.
system. So the terrorists break in, and their entire plan is to burn the building out because they want to get something that the CEO has. We won't spoil what it is if you want to watch this movie. If you've never seen Die Hard and you're like, I wonder what that movie would be like if it starred The Rock instead of Bruce Willis. You know, they decide to set fire to the whole building. So the whole building. And again, we're going to do my so is going to go here. Just again, interrupting the flow of things. I didn't realize that Miles's track was still muted out, so I forgot to move that. Sometimes I get those little pieces in there and I completely forget about them. They decide to set fire to the whole building, so the whole building creeps up, and they have to disable the building's super advanced fire security system in order to do so. Explain to me why there is no manual control to the fire system in a 220-story building on premises. Literally, the control center for the building is 2.2 kilometers away, which they made a point of showing like 3 different times for whatever reason in this movie.
You said this was a
Why?
Chinese Die Hard, though, right?
It is.
So if there wasn't a control mechanism, that's only like a way. I mean, come on now. Why
But
would
there's
the
not one in
Chinese
the-
put a? Why would you put that at Ford? Come on
My
now.
problem
It's
is
the Chinese way.
It's not in the actual building. There's no way to actually control. Reason in this movie. For whatever reason in this movie.
You said this was a
Why?
Chinese Die Hard, though, right? Why
But
would
there's
the
not one in
Chinese
the-
put a? Why would you put that at Ford? Come on
My
now.
problem
It's
is
the Chinese way.
It's not in the actual building. There's no way to actually control the fire system. So we're gonna go all the way over to here, and I don't even know. Let me just. Can we just? Let's just. This is why it's okay to drink when you podcast, ladies and gentlemen. It's okay to drink. It is not okay to get sloppy, just ridiculous kinds of drunk. Unless you're like super charming and just able to just kind of roll with it like Shampoo or John. Like they can drunk podcast like nobody's business. But anyway, I want to listen to this. Here, hang on.
You said this was a Chinese Die Hard, though, right? So if there wasn't a control mechanism, that's only like a way. I mean, come on now. Why would the Chinese why would you put that at Ford? Come on now. It's the Chinese way.
Someone tell me what that meant. Chat. Tell me what that meant. Tell me what that meant. Because that is getting cut wholesale. That I am not. What the hell? What in the world? That was weird. All right. Anyway. I don't even understand like the point she was trying to make. Like if it would have been like funny, but not like what, but it was just like I don't even get what she was trying to say at all. There's no way to actually control the fire system of the building inside of the building itself. And we've just got a little.
Yeah,
that's the
sounds
premise.
like a design.
Snippet from John there, clearing his throat. We'll get rid of that. Building inside of the building itself.
Yeah,
that's the
sounds
premise.
like a design
That's
flaw.
the whole premise of this movie. All right, and I like John actually says here that sounds like a design flaw, but he kind of waited and said it late, and I want to make sure we hear that. So we're going to bump him back to right here in this gap, and we're going to have to extend. Actually, nope, wrong way, wrong one. We'll extend this way. And there's just nothing but dead audio after that. Itself.
Yeah, sounds like a design flaw.
That's the premise. That's the whole premise of this movie rests on that.
This is something that happened in the movie.
All right, so now we're gonna clean up, and I'm probably just gonna cut me out wholesale here.
Design flaw.
That's the premise. That's the whole premise of this movie rests on that.
This is
all right. So we're gonna cut out what I said here entirely. And we're going to end up probably moving Dan here and cutting half of this too, because I think it was Dan starting and stopping again.
He's erect. This is an accurate fact.
Okay. It sounded like Dan said he's erect. Which, yes. Maybe. Here we go. All right, so let's mute out this segment for Dan. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to bump Dan back so he finishes up right about here. And I'm going to actually cut here, here, here. And we're going to cut just right here along these lines. Just so I can lift those out of there like so. Again, it's all about the timing of it because we want to make sure we don't want to leave just giant gaps everywhere. At least I don't. When I edit, I don't like giant gaps in my freaking audio. And that's even probably a little bit too far. So let me pull that out and do it again. I'm just going to push Dan just... there we go. Because this already muted. That's already muted. That's not, but there's nothing after it, and that's not, but there's nothing after it. So there we go. So now let's give this a clean listen with everything kind of shifted around just a little bit. Inside of the building itself.
Yeah, sounds like a design flaw.
This is an accurate fact. This is something that happened in the movie.
There is no way, there's no manual switch. Like, it's all computerized, and it's all... All right, so we're going to move Miles there. What does John say here? There's no way, there's no manual. All right, John already said it was dumb, so we're just basically going to remove this. And we can bump Miles back just a skosh. Just a skosh. Do you guys ever use the word skosh? If not, you should. You would say things like Bill's penis is just a skosh of a penis, maybe?
This is something that happened in the movie.
That's a terrible premise.
No way. There's no manual switch. Like, it's all computerized, and it's all accessible. Like, the CEO of the company doesn't have any... Miles and John said the same exact thing there, so I'm fine with pulling that and just letting just one of those stand in there.
The movie.
That's a terrible premise.
There's no manual switch. Like, it's all computerized and it's all accessible. Like, the CEO of the company doesn't have any kind of override or legitimately anything. It's legitimate. Like, remember how they used to write like computer hacking shit like in the 90s?
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of writing it is. Like, I've locked out the encryption, so now I'm the only one that can access it. I'm like, it's a fire safety system.
Remember when that character who said that exact line died within 3 seconds?
I do.
He was on screen for maybe 10.
He was also German.
And then he was immediately shot in the head.
He was also German.
Was that in The World After Tomorrow?
It's just, that's
a terrible
the whole
synopsis.
Plot of this film is predicated on the fact that they can't stop the fire system. Just German.
And then he was immediately shot in the head.
He was also German because reasons. It's just, that's the whole plot of this film is predicated on the fact that they can't stop. I need to cut things. There we go. So we're just gonna just a little snip here, out of there. There we go. And again, we're just gonna move all of this back here and play this. He was also German.
And then he was immediately shot in the head.
He was also German because reasons. It's just, that's the whole plot of this film is predicated on the fact that they can't stop the fire system. They can't, turn the fire system back on, so the fire is going to burn, because otherwise the fire that they set the fire system would just put it back out, which we'll talk about later on when we talk about the movie here. But
here are two issues. The first issue is, how long was the fire suppression system on for floor
so long.
96 before it spread to the rest of the place?
A long time.
If it's such an advanced fire suppressive system, why did the fire continue to burn so long?
My favorite thing about Dan doing the Batman voice is trying to say words with a lot of syllables in them.
Suppressive system. Why did the fire continue to burn so long?
That sounds like a valid discrepancy.
It was on for a long time.
It was on it for at least 15 minutes of screen time.
Really on for a long time.
The other issue,
there's a little bit, it was just kind of probably squirming or twitching or microphone noise, whatever, right there on John's track. We're just going to drop that out.
I have. So the insurance adjuster guy. He gets into this tower, and he turns out that the police,
much extra
once they find out who the main culprit is, this Bota guy, they look him up on the internet, and his known associate is the insurance adjuster guy. How the fuck does that guy get past the building security to be able to get up to the CEO? It doesn't make any sense.
It's really better if you do not.
It really makes no sense.
Think about it.
It totally breaks.
It is exactly like Die Hard in that you just have to watch it. You can't think about it. You just have to just think about it.
It totally breaks.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. That makes absolutely no fucking sense. At least the shit he did in Die Hard seems plausible.
Nothing about this movie makes sense, John. Literally nothing. Miles is trying to talk, but she muted her mic.
I did. I was trying not to be an asshole, so I muted my mic, but I agree because
I'm just listening to this and I'm like, God damn.
I really am listening because I have not watched Skyscraper. I will hold my hand up and say...
Don't. All right, so we're gonna.
But I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. That makes absolutely no fucking sense. At least the shit he did in Die Hard seems plausible.
Nothing about this movie makes sense, John. Literally nothing. Miles is trying to talk, but she muted her mic.
I did. I was trying not to be an asshole, so I muted my mic. But I agree because
I'm just listening.
All right, so first things first. We got to mute this whole thing out. All this is just track noise. There's nothing even substantive in it. I'm a pretty fidgety person, but I manage to stay, still enough when I'm recording a podcast to not have constant microphone banging noises and all that different kind of shit going on. And that's why you don't manually mute your microphone during a podcast. Never do that. Never do that. If you're a podcaster, never do that. Justin does it all the time, and you can very, very audibly hear it whenever you do it. One of two things. Either A, get a mixer, and then you can just turn it down. You guys couldn't hear me right there because all I did was turn the knob. There's nothing audible about it. Or B, bring up your computer's microphone settings and just have that window open separately and just click the button for mute on the computer thing. That's all you have to do. Just bring it up. Bring up your audio mixer. Actually, you don't even have to do that. Go right into your recording devices. This is if you're on PC, whatever. Figure it out if you're on Mac. But go into your recording devices and just all you have to do is just. And now when I unmute it, you guys can hear me just fine. That's all you have to do. It's not hard. It's not complicated. Do it because every single one of these things that you do, and you might not think that listeners think about or care about this kind of stuff, but they do. And they do think about these sorts of things whenever they're listening to a show. All those little, banging noises, clicking microphones on and off, all that stuff registers in a listener's ear. And when there's just so much of that crammed into a podcast, they're gone. They're not going to listen. And other people aren't going to listen either. Most of the people that check out your show, if people are like, oh, listen to the show, same thing applies if your microphone's this far away from your face and it sounds like you're talking into a tunnel. Don't do it. Don't do it. And also, don't do stuff like this where you're talking into the microphone and then you move away from it and you're talking over here and then you come back and you're talking into it all at the same time. Okay? This turned into much less of a podcasting an editing thing. Is more of just general podcasting 101. Do not do this, because now it's picking up all the other ambient room noise along with my voice. When it's up here, nice, crisp, clear. Bill, I will kill you. Literally kill you. He said, I want to sound like I'm in a tunnel. No, you don't, Bill. No. See, don't do it. Don't do it. If you live in a noisy environment, I live in a noisy environment. Believe me. My desktop, the computer that I'm streaming off of right now, loud fans. My refrigerator makes a loud whistling, whining noise all the time. I have to filter it out in post. It just is what it is. I'll usually leave myself a footprint at the beginning of a track and just go in and just cut it. So, all right, so we're going to cut stuff out here. I don't need... Why is there so much here? Oh, my God. Let's see.
Seems plausible.
Nothing about this movie makes sense, John. Literally nothing. Miles is trying to talk, but she muted her mic.
I did. I was trying not to be an asshole, so I muted my mic. But I agree because
I'm just listening to this and I'm like, God damn.
I'm just. I really am listening because I have not watched Skyscraper. I will hold my hand up and say,
hashtag, Dan.
I didn't watch this movie.
If I haven't sold this
I
to
will
you
wait
yet.
till I can.
Also, another pet peeve I have when I listen to podcasts and when I do podcasts, don't whisper. Justin does it too sometimes, and it drives me insane whenever he does it. I want to kill him whenever he decides to start whispering. It's just stop. Stop it. Stop.
See this movie for free before I ever decide.
No, make
to
somebody
even
pay
think about
you money to see it,
possibly
John.
watch
Okay.
it. That would be better.
If I'm gonna
That would
sell
be better.
Skyscraper, this is how you sell Skyscraper. There's a Chinese company overtaking the American government, trying to go ahead and make sure that it pays for its ways.
I love this.
But the
Look at
American
Dan.
government
He's like,
refuses
"No,
to
fuck
pay
that."
its tariffs and its taxes. Therefore, the fire will continue to rage on until the President of the United States agrees to pay for his end of the deal. Except for North Korea gets involved, but no one knows what's going on. However, The Rock Johnson saves America because
She
if
just
there
turned
is
this into a
nobody more
geopolitical
American than
thriller.
Rock Johnson.
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking that, but it.
I want to
But
point
it's
out.
possible.
I wanna
Right
point out she
nowadays,
said
Skyscraper
The Rock
would be
Johnson.
plausible if to say that the Chinese
The
would
only
not
plausible.
implement the fire hazards because of it's the American way and they were going against America. That is a difference between Chinese Die Hard and actual Die Hard. If you listen to Die Hard, they at least are followed by the fact that you can't get on the elevator while the fire is going.
Oh my god.
Nope.
There is a scene with an elevator in this movie.
I know, but there
With
can't
a
be
fire.
because of the fucking
There are
fire.
multiple
You
scenes.
cannot have an elevator and a fire work together.
It's,
Right?
It's
Okay,
like
I'm
I said,
going
the
with
whole
the
premise of
idea-
the movie.
The best way to sell this movie would have been, all right, everybody, come see Skyscraper. When you come get a ticket, we'll hand you $15.
You're exactly right, John. Because really, it would have been better if they would have more deliberately remade Die Hard, like, and just had like the terrorists there incidentally. And you're exactly right, John. Because
Might come back in here.
really, it would have been. It would have been better if they would have more deliberately remade Die Hard, like.
So remember, the last line of dialogue before the cut is nothing about this movie makes sense, John. Nothing. So then I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good place to come back in now.
and just had like the terrorists there incidentally and whatever. It's just it's aggressively dumb.
Incidentally.
And then the kicker here, all the way.
I think I'm just going to cut back in here where I say it's aggressively dumb. And we're going to have to mute John out there saying incidentally because that goes to a cutscene now that makes no sense. Sometimes, and don't ask me why I do this, it's like an Easter egg only for myself that I leave in the show, but I'll leave references to things that I've cut out, like clips that I've cut out. I'll leave a reference to it from somebody else or something else later on in the show. And then I'll listen to it like when I'm listening back to the show in the final cut, and I'll be like, like, I don't know why. Don't ask me why I do that. Because nobody else would ever know. Ever. Because anybody that records the show wouldn't remember it. And, you know, anybody else who's listening to the show isn't going to know. So don't ask me why I do that. I just do. But yeah, this whole section, whole thing. Get out. And again, we're going to, before we drag this over, we're going to mute out John's opening section here. I do not know what this is, John.
On the planet, did the fire on floor 96
again,
rage for
that
so
ties
long?
directly back into that.
So there we go. So now we've actually done a little bit more here. And boop, snap that over. We're now at 29 minutes and 17 seconds. So we've almost cut 10 minutes out of this so far. Almost 10 minutes.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. That makes absolutely no fucking sense. At least the shit he did in Die Hard seems plausible.
Nothing about this movie makes sense, John. Literally nothing. It's aggressively dumb. And then the kicker here,
That makes
all the way at
perfect
the end of the
sense. It
movie,
fits.
and I don't give a fuck if I spoil it for anybody, all the way at the end of the movie, when you're, you know, the terrorists have been stopped and everything like that, they turn on the fire control system. This fire has been burning for a long time. But they turn on the fire control system and it
Dan's laugh.
just magically puts out a fire that's like on 100 different stories of this building.
Which
Half of
only
the
goes to
building's on
reinforce
fire.
my point. How, with the most robust fire suppressive system on the planet,
Stories of this building.
which
half of
only
the
goes to
building's on
reinforce
fire.
my point. How?
All right. I'm just basically reiterating the same thing I already said. I said 100 floors of the building are on fire, and then I said half the building's on fire. I can cut that. And this is me laughing at Dan. So we'll drop me out so Dan can come in.
100 different stories of this building.
Which only goes to reinforce my point. How, with the most robust fire suppressive system on the planet, did the fire on floor 96
again,
rage for
that
so
ties
long?
directly back into that point too. It's like it was going for quite.
All right, so we're going to get rid of this as well. Just so Dan's track piece is a little bit cleaner in there.
Rage for
That
so
ties
long.
directly back into that point too. It's like it was going for quite a while on floor
Okay,
96.
yeah, that doesn't make any
before.
sense. If the suppression system is on and the fire started with the suppression system on.
It's aggressively stupid.
Like,
Like and
that doesn't even logically add up at all. Like, the fire suppression
We're going to let John go here.
system is designed that the instant it detects a fire, it goes off.
see, I think The Rock's fine in it. I think
All right, so we're going to cut out, so this is all going to get cut right here.
Because now we're going to kind of shift into talking about the performances on the film, I think. And this is just one of those little pieces. They add up. When you're making cuts, though, when you're cutting tiny little pieces like this, they add up. There's no reason for me to say I think twice. We can just go like this. The Rock's fine in it. I think that Nev Campbell's fine in it. You get the bare bonesingest family togetherness scenes to see them and their kids together to make you care about them as a familiar unit, and I think they did that effectively enough. The dude in this, the bad guy in this,
The
is
Rock
no Hans
literally
Gruber.
just wanted to play a one-legged guy. I think that's it.
Well, apparently, a lot of people who are...
God damn it, Dan. Did that effectively enough. The dude in this, the bad guy in this,
The
is
Rock
no Hans
literally
Gruber.
just wanted to play a one-legged guy. I think that's it.
Well,
We're gonna
apparently.
actually- We're going to let John come in there again, and we're going to have to back him up just a skosh. Skosh. So there we go. We're going to bop those out of there, and then we're just going to cut, like, right here. And then we're just going to back this up. And let him, we're going to let him come in as I'm finishing up. So then we'll bring Dan's track, my track. See, I'm going to have to mute mine. Just mine. I was hoping I wouldn't have to. I was hoping I'd be able to avoid doing that, but hey, whatever. There we go. Did that effectively enough.
The Rock literally just wanted to play a one-legged guy. I think that's it.
Well, apparently, a lot of people who are amputees are very impressed with The Rock for doing such a thing.
Well,
work,
I
The
mean,
Rock
I
has
could
now become
what?
a hero to the
Imagine
people.
that!
He is the people's champion.
Oh my
Yes,
god!
truly the people's champion.
Who'd have thought that shit would have happened?
Oh my god.
Rock for doing such a thing.
Well,
work,
I
The
mean,
Rock
I
has
could
now become
what?
a hero to the
Imagine
people.
that!
He is the people's champion.
Oh my
Yes,
god!
truly the people's champion.
Who'd have thought that shit would have happened?
Oh my god. We're gonna mute out the first part of what John says here to let Dan's come through more concise.
Doing such a thing.
Good work,
So The Rock has now become a hero to the people. He is the people's
We're
champion.
gonna cut.
Oh my
Yes, truly
God.
the people's champion.
Who'd have thought that shit would have happened?
Oh my
Uh,
god. The Rock.
Doing such a thing.
Good work, Rock.
So The Rock has now become a hero to the people. He is the people's champion.
Oh my
Yes,
god!
truly the people's champion.
Who'd have thought that shit would have happened?
Oh my god. The Rock
Sheep,
really needed
you're
to go
all
method
fucking
on this.
sheep.
The Rock really needed to go method on
I
this.
wanna-
He really needed to
I
actually
want
just
to
cut
bring
his
up
leg
one
off.
other thing, Nicholas.
I love you, John.
Ben.
Oh my god. The Rock
Sheep,
really needed
you're
to
all
go method
fucking
on this.
sheep.
The Rock really needed to go method on
I
this.
wanna-
He really needed to actually
I
just
want to
cut
bring
his
up
leg
one
off.
other thing,
Out of
Nicholas.
there. Do it. But please stop talking in that fucking voice because I literally want to drive to Pittsburgh and kill you.
At least you'll be
Do
able to
not
visit me.
Oh,
Do not
Back to
stop.
that.
Pittsburgh's not
Yeah,
too
we're going
far.
to-
I can drive closer and
There we go. And there we go.
To happen.
Oh my god.
Sheep, you're all fucking sheep.
The Rock really needed. KSM, welcome to the stream. It is podcast editing. I'm editing episode 152 of the Epic Film Guys podcast. Just almost a little how-to, if you will, on kind of the method to my madness, or at least the method to my madness for this kind of a clusterfuck. This was a disaster of an episode, so I've really got to do a lot more fine-tuning and tweaking kind of editing than I normally would ever do for an episode of the show. But
He is the people's champion.
Oh my
yes,
god!
truly the people's champion.
Who'd have thought that shit would have happened?
Oh my god.
Sheep, you're all fucking sheep.
The Rock really needed to go method on this.
so much.
The Rock really needed to go method on
I
this.
wanna-
He really needed to actually
I want
just
to
cut
bring
his
up
leg
one
off.
other thing, Nicholas.
Do it. But please stop talking in that fucking voice because I literally want to drive to Pittsburgh and kill you.
At least you'll be
Do
able to
not
visit me.
stop.
oh,
Do not stop.
Pittsburgh.
All right, so there's 4. Too much has got to happen here.
At least you'll be
Do
able to
not
visit
stop.
me.
Oh,
We're going to cut out this. I don't know what this is that John said here, but I like what he said after that where he's like, do not stop. So we're going to keep that in there. I don't know what Miles says here. I think she was like, aw, or something like that. So we're going to ditch that to focus just kind of on Dan
saying at least you'll be visiting me. Voice, because I literally want to drive to Pittsburgh and kill you.
At least you'll be able to visit me.
Do not stop.
Pittsburgh's not too far. I can drive closer and faster than you can, probably.
Someone kill him. I don't care who it
I
is.
will be. I'll be.
Don't worry.
I'll be
I'll
with
be hanging from
Dave
my
on
ceiling fan when you get
Friday.
here.
I was like, I'll be with Dave on Friday.
Okay,
Here's the question, though. I have to ask because I have to ask it. Is Skyscraper going to...
Do not stop.
Pittsburgh's not too far. I can drive closer and faster than you can, probably.
Someone kill him. I don't care who it
I
is.
will be. I'll be.
Don't worry.
I'll be
I'll
with
be hanging
Dave
from my
on
ceiling fan when you get
Friday.
here.
I was like, I'll be with Dave on Friday.
I couldn't hear with John there repeating himself. I couldn't hear Dan in there saying, "I'll already be hanging from my ceiling fan." Oh my god. So I'm gonna back John up just a touch there, extend that out there. Just kind of make these gaps step down just like that. Works kind of perfectly. This is where Miles starts to talk about something else, so we're gonna end up cutting there. Someone kill him. I don't care who it is.
Don't worry. I'll be hanging from my ceiling fan when you get here.
I was like, I'll be with Dave on Friday. So
Here's the question, though. I have to ask because I have to ask it. Is Skyscraper going to become a Christmas movie?
No.
Okay.
No, it takes place in nondescript season.
June. We'll say just say June.
There's no real
There's
description
no
for any season.
holidays. There's no. I mean,
No.
They don't talk about the date at all.
All right, so
fucking
here's
shit.
my problem with here's my big problem with this movie outside of the fact that
All right, so Dan's gonna get into it here, so we're gonna back it up on him. So there we go. So let's drop a little laser line right here. Boing, 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 boing. And we're gonna lift this shit wholesale right out. And we're gonna bring this back. We'll let that line up with that first. And then we're gonna actually, this is what we'll do. We're gonna cut into John's track, about maybe say yay far. Good enough. Because I want to drag Dan actually back a little bit. I don't know what the hell that is there. Let's kill the audio in that little subsection there. There we go. All right, so yeah, I want to drag Dan back a little bit to kind of finish, or do we start talking like, well, actually kind of right there is fine. Yeah, that's fine. Right as John's done. And then we'll grab John's track here and smooth that back out.
From my ceiling fan when you get here.
I was like, I'll be with Dave on Friday.
all right, so here's my problem with here's my big problem with this movie outside of the fact that a guy who's a known associate with a criminal just gets to go up to meet the CEO for no reason
And hang out with him.
and a fire suppression system works only
And
as
then,
good as
you know
it
what
wants
the shitty
to
thing about
for
that
the plot.
character is too? He's the most obvious planted bad guy, like inside man bad guy in film history. He talks like with a squirrely voice, and he always seems
maybe-
menacing.
Is he
and
like
stuff.
Rick
We're gonna get it in there, so we're gonna get that out of there. I don't know what Rick Moranis has to do with that, because I said like the most obvious bad guy in cinema history. Rick Moranis is not a bad guy ever. Even Dark Helmet was only sort of the antagonist of Spaceballs. Okay, he was the antagonist of Spaceballs, but he was by far the best thing about it. We're out. I think what I will do, because I want Dan's point to be a little more standalone here, and hang out with him.
And a fire suppression system works only
And
as
then,
good as
you know
it
what
wants
the
to
shitty thing about
for the
that character
plot.
is too? He's the most obvious planted bad guy, like inside man bad guy in film history. He talks like with a squirrely voice, and he always seems
maybe-
menacing and stuff.
He's
the
like-
camera,
apparently he
the
just comes in
character
and he's
has
like-
one fucking characterization.
We're gonna get rid of John here. I'm trying to focus this back in now. We've had laughs and stuff. We're gonna focus this back in now and try to wrap this review and get it done, so that way it's over with.
like inside man bad guy in film history. He talks like with a squirrely voice.
So I actually want to
and
move me.
He
here.
always like
Just a
seems
little
menacing
bit.
and stuff.
Just a little bit, because Dan says
The camera, the character has. The camera.
right, just a little bit. We're just gonna bump it back that much, and we're gonna have to mute out this little piece of me here. Because I just want to make sure we can get to the end of Dan's statement.
CEO for no reason.
And hang out with him.
And a fire suppression system works only as good as it wants
And
to.
then,
for
you know what
plot.
the shitty thing about that character is too? He's the most obvious planted bad guy, like inside man bad guy in film history. He talks like with a squirrely voice, and he always
favorite-
like seems menacing and stuff.
The camera, the character has one fucking characterization. Hey guys, can we go to the helipad? Can we go to the helipad, guys? Let's go to the helipad. Can we just need to get to the helipad, guys. We really just need to
he
get
might
to.
as well just come in and go, let's go to the helipad, see? We need to get to the helipad. Where's the
He's
helipad?
he's like that friend that's.
We need to get to the helipad. Where's the helipad?
He's like that friend that's really.
All right, so we're gonna try to clip Dan around here.
He's like.
Don't know if we're gonna be able to.
We need to get to the helipad. Where's the helipad?
He's like.
So we may have to. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna clip here, and we're gonna clip here. We're gonna kill the audio on this. There we go. And the problem is this is a big block of text from Dan.
He's like that friend that's really bad at keeping secrets, and they gotta try to get you to your surprise birthday party.
Where's the helipad?
He's like that friend that's really bad at keeping secrets, and they gotta try to get you to your surprise birthday party.
Actually,
They're like,
So, like,
man,
Zach-
we should.
I think it works without that little piece in there. I think.
Helipad, see? We need to get to the helipad. Where's the helipad?
He's
There we
like
go.
that friend that's really bad at keeping secrets, and they gotta try to get you to your surprise birthday party. They're like,
So, like,
man,
Zach
we should
Braff and
we should
everything
really
he
go
does.
to
We should
fucking
really
Chi-Chi's.
head up
Let's
to
go to
the fucking
Chi-Chi's for
helipad.
fucking. You want to go to Chi-Chi's? And you're just like, no, I want to go to fucking Chi-Chi's. We should really go to
We should
Chi-Chi's.
really head to Chi-Chi's.
I love Chi-Chi's, so
Once again, we're trying to get to the end of the review now. So
Party
now
like,
we're
So, like,
getting
man, we
Zach
should,
Braff and
we should
everything he
really
does.
go
We
to
should
fucking
really
Chi-Chi's.
head up
Let's go
to
to
the fucking
Chi-Chi's for
helipad.
fucking. You want to go to Chi-Chi's? And you're just like, no, I want to go to fucking Chi-Chi's. We should really go to
We
Chi-Chi's.
should really head to Chi-Chi's.
And that's where it can end. It doesn't need to continue past that.
Chi-Chi's. Let's go to Chi-Chi's for fucking. You want to go to Chi-Chi's? And you're just like, no, I want to go to fucking Chi-Chi's.
This is just a lot of me breathing in here.
We should really head
I'm
to
gonna stop track,
Chi-Chi's.
so we're gonna just kill that. 'Cause I was wondering, I was like, why? There's like all sorts of weird shit in there.
Chi-Chi's for fucking. You want to go to Chi-Chi's? And you're just like, no, I want to go to fucking
No, I
Chi-Chi's.
wanna go to
We
Bulma's
should
house.
really go to
We should
Chi-Chi's.
really head to Chi-Chi's.
I love Chi-Chi's, so fuck off, and we have lost all of them. So, I
What's the
miss
point?
Chi-Chi's, so good. And
But I don't want to get salmonella. But we should really still go to Chi-Chi's.
Look, you don't get
All right, so I gotta mute that piece of her bottom track right there. And then, yeah, this whole Chi-Chi's discussion is gonna go.
cheese, so fuck off, and we have lost all of them. So, I
What's the
miss
point?
Chi-Chi's, so good. And
But I don't want to get salmonella. But we should really still go to Chi-Chi's.
Look, you don't go to Chi-Chi's for salmonella. You go to Chi-Chi's for the drugs. Dude, you go to Chi-Chi's for the drugs. From the kitchen staff. Come on.
Let's go to Chi-Chi's.
Okay,
Man,
but-
all they got is drugs and salmonella.
Exactly, that's
this
why
went in a
you
direction I
go.
totally did not anticipate.
So those are my two big issues, but there's a third issue, and it's just symptomatic of every Hollywood blockbuster in that they just over-explain everything. Every time Dwayne fucking Johnson...
All right, so here we go. So Dan's gonna come back in, so now we've got to pull it all back together here. So basically, we're gonna butt Dan kind of right up to here, where it's just gonna be
we're gonna have John talk about Chi-Chi's in there, and then Dan's gonna continue going with his third point. No, Chi-Chi's is going. This Chi-Chi's will stay. This Chi-Chi's section here will stay.
Where's the helipad?
He's like that friend that's really bad at keeping secrets, and they gotta try to get you to your surprise birthday party. They're like, man, we should really go to fucking Chi-Chi's. Let's go to Chi-Chi's for fucking. You want to go to Chi-Chi's? And you're just like, no, I don't want to go to fucking Chi-Chi's. We should really go to Chi-Chi's.
We should really head to Chi-Chi's.
Yeah, see, the rest of it's just overkill. The rest of it's just overkill on top of that. So it doesn't need it. It doesn't need it. So we're gonna do. We're going to cut here, here, here. And we're going to do select, select, select. And we're going to mute out these sections. Actually, no, we're just going to pop them right out. And then we're going to do... yoink. And we're going to pop this out. That was almost like I borderline. I thought about that one for like an outtake, but yeah. There we go. So now let's take a listen to this.
And you're just like, no, I want to go to fucking Chi-Chi's. We should really go to Chi-Chi's.
We should really head to Chi-Chi's.
So those are my two big issues, but there's a third issue, and
now, that is much, much cleaner. And it gets to the point much, much quicker. We're now down to 28 minutes. We've officially cut about 10 minutes out of this entire track, which when you want to actually edit for content, that's a pretty good amount. That's a pretty good chunk. That's like 25% right there in terms of audio. Believe me, your listeners will appreciate it. I know it's work. I know it takes work, but you're trying to craft an experience for a listener that's going to make them want to come back. You need things to punch fast. You need there to not be, there needs to be sidetracking when sidetracking makes sense. But I mean, literally, this is just straight up derailment every time, especially Miles. And I loved having Miles on the show, so I don't mean to kind of come down on her, but she was really drunk. So every time she said anything, it was just insane. Like, it just completely, like, the train, the rails were bent, the train just tumbled off of a bridge, and then we had to rebuild the whole damn thing and try to get us back on track. So it just doesn't work, so it has to come out.
We should really go to Chi-Chi's.
We should really head to Chi-Chi's.
So those are my two big issues, but there's a third issue, and it's just symptomatic of every Hollywood blockbuster in that they just over-explain everything. Every time Dwayne fucking Johnson does anything in this movie, someone asks, what is he doing?
So we're just gonna, there's a little bit of noise on those tracks, each of them, so we're just gonna zero those all out.
And then someone takes the time to explain what he's about to do, and then he does the thing that they just explained, that they just asked about what he was going to do. And it's just like, hey, if you just want a movie to go,
we don't hear movies with our ears.
Oh my
wait.
No, this does not make any sense what I said. I'm like, we don't hear movies with our ears, and I meant to say we don't hear movies with our eyes or whatever, something like that. So I'm just gonna cut this because it just makes me sound like an idiot. More of an idiot than I already am. So we'll just cut that entirely.
Hey, if you just want a movie to go, don't do that. Oh my
wait.
So it's kind of like
what
when
is
he was doing
oh, he's
Baywatch.
jumping across the thing? Just let him jump across the fucking thing. I don't understand. Stop doing this. We're not stupid.
Yeah, this is definitely made. Okay.
Oh my
wait.
I don't know why John's saying wait here, but I'm going to cut it because we don't get back to John for a little bit here yet. So I'm just going to cut that. Or zero it out, I should say. So we're just going to basically let Dan keep rolling here.
Want a movie to go, don't do that. Oh my god. What is he doing? Oh, he's jumping across the thing? Just let him jump across the fucking thing. I don't understand. Stop doing this. We're not stupid.
Yeah, this is definitely made.
Exactly, but are we is the question that you should be asking.
Are we?
Exactly, but are we is the question that you should be asking, because obviously
honestly,
we need to be explained a lot of things.
I can't hear.
that you should be asking because obviously we need to be explained a lot of things.
Nobody. We're not explaining anything. What?
That you should be asking because
You know,
obviously
honestly, I
we need to
feel
be
very,
explained a
very
lot of
sorry
things.
for the both of you for having seen this film. And if I could somehow petition a way for you to get that time back,
Solid gold from John as always. John is literally a treasure. All right, so we cut that part out of there. So now we're gonna pop out a little bit here, and we're gonna select our tracks, and we're gonna just push this way. Let's bump John into the end of Dan, and then there we go. So let's listen.
Not stupid. Or are we?
you know, honestly, I feel very, very sorry for the both of you for having seen this film. And if I could somehow petition a way for you to get that time back, by God, I'd do it.
Please,
what I
please,
want,
for the love
what
of
I
God.
want, what I want in exchange for seeing this movie in theaters is I want Live by Night on Netflix tomorrow, so that way I can watch it and understand why Nick hates it so much.
Oh my God, please do. All right, I wasn't paying attention here.
Time back. By God, I'd do it.
Please,
What I
please,
want,
for the love
what
of
I
God.
want, what I want in exchange for seeing this movie in theaters.
All right, here we go. So Dan, we're gonna cut this section of Dan out actually. Right there. And actually that is fine. Okay. There we go.
I feel very, very sorry
Thanks,
for
Phil.
the both of you for having seen this film. And if I could somehow petition a way for you to get that time back, by God, I'd do it.
Please, for the love of God.
What I want in exchange for seeing this movie in theaters is I want Live by Night on Netflix tomorrow, so that way I can watch it and understand why
please.
Nick hates it so much.
Oh my God, please do. So
That's it.
Dan,
Wait,
let's
wait, hold on. What
Netflix.
movie is this?
Get
Because
on
now
this.
I want to watch it because somebody hates it. So
Live by Night.
So much.
Oh my God, please do. So
That's it.
Dan,
wait,
let's-
wait, hold on.
Netflix.
What movie is this?
This sounds like a whole cut section right here. Damn it. So
That's it.
Dan,
Wait,
let's-
wait, hold on.
Netflix.
What movie is this?
Get
Because
on
now
this.
I want to watch it because somebody hates it. So
Live by Night. It's literally the worst movie
Live
of the
by
decade.
night.
Way
Live
worse
by
than
Night?
1517 to Paris, Paul.
No, Nick.
No,
Nick.
it is. It is because
Nick.
you know what? I bet you
It's
it
not the
narrates
worst
less.
movie of all time.
No, I said
because we
of the
watched-
decade.
wait, hold on.
Oh, we
I
watched
need to
The
know.
Host.
That is true. It is
We
very, very
watched
true.
The Host.
What is the actual worst movie
What
of
about
all time?
spiders?
What is
That
the
is a
worst movie
discussion
of all
for
time?
another podcast because we'll run way too long if we try to have that
Yeah.
discussion now.
Oh,
my God.
damn.
But Dan,
I go on.
so like I said, that was the biggest crux of it for me. It's like, all right, so here we go. So what I actually think I'm going to do with this is I like the discussion, the quick discussion there about Live by Night. We're going to pull this and we're going to cut it. So what I do when I pull clips for this is I pull them out of the timeline and I put them at the end. And we're going to bump this in here. There we go. And we're going to just move this kind of close to it. We want to make sure we space it out still so that way I know when I go into Gold Wave after I'm finished compiling the track, I can just yoink, clip that end of it right off of there and save it in my junk audio file. All right, so here we go. Let's bump this in here.
I want Live by Night on Netflix tomorrow, so that way I can watch it and understand why Nick hates it so much.
Oh my God, please do. Like I said, that was the biggest crux of it for me. It's like fine, like the performances in it, The Rock and Nev Campbell, like actually,
I could somehow petition a way for you to get that time back. By God, I'd do it.
please for the love of God.
What I want.
Actually, we're going to cut that whole piece right there. So let's actually move it back, and we're going to... Those cut lines actually need to stay there here. So let me go back over there. We'll cut the end of it first. So, like I said, that was the... All right. So this will kind of keep us on track, keeps the fucking rails going here. All right. Please for the... All right, so this should be There we go. So we'll just end up right there instead. And again, we're just going to pull this out. Put it at the end. Move this whole thing in like so. And further in like so.
Way for you to get that time back. By God, I'd do it.
Please, for the love of God. Like I said, that was the biggest crux of it for me. It's like fine, like the performances in it, The Rock and Nev Campbell, like all that stuff was okay. It wasn't anything mind blowing or anything. You've got the Chinese cop who is basically your Reginald Vell Johnson in this movie, even though he doesn't actually talk to The Rock.
Right. Okay, that was my other big problem. And you just reminded me.
For the love of God. Like I said, that was the biggest crux of it for me. It's like fine, like the performances in it, The Rock and Nev Campbell, like all that stuff was okay. It wasn't anything mind blowing or anything. You've got the Chinese cop who is basically your Reginald Vell Johnson in this movie, even though he doesn't actually talk to The Rock.
Right. Okay, that was my other big problem. And you just reminded me.
Sounded like
so
he was whacking off and he was
my
like...
fucking least favorite part of this movie is when he comes down from the fucking skyscraper and the Chinese cop walks up to him.
He
He's
says
like,
the Reginald
nice
Vell
to finally
Johnson
meet
line.
you. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, you never talked, you motherfucker.
I think
You
there
never
has to have been
spoke
something.
to this man.
There has to have been something that was cut out of this film somewhere in the process where he was supposed to
I'm
be
leaving
even
that
more
overtalk in
like
there.
if you remember in Die Hard, Reginald Vell Johnson's character is the cop that talks to Bruce Willis
Yeah.
when he's up
Yeah.
in the skyscraper or whatever. There's a cop that, like, all of a sudden at random, the movie just cuts to this Chinese cop in, like, I think it's right when he fucking microphone noise. God damn it. He's going up to get on the crane and stuff like that, and the police are pursuing The Rock and everything, and
Dan typing.
all of a sudden it cuts to this Chinese cop, and it's like, wait a minute,
I'll miss a couple of them too, I'm sure.
who is this guy and why is he a character? And then you kind of get it. It's like, oh my God, this is Reginald Vell Johnson from Die Hard. But he never actually talks to The Rock, so it makes that line, like Dan said, hilarious at the end of it. Nice to finally meet you. It's like, you never said a word to him the entire time. It's just aggressively stupid. And like I said, the biggest kicker is this fire suppression system that you can't control on site, literally at all, ever, in any way possible. It has the most telegraphed script callbacks of all time. Nev Campbell's phone is broken at the beginning of the movie, quote unquote. So she has to give it to The Rock to turn it off and turn it back on again. And he like teases her a little bit about it.
Oh,
So there's a
that's
huge
who this
callback.
guy was.
You
Sorry.
did-
I
did you
just realized who the cop was. He was, if anyone watched Altered Carbon, he was original Kovacs.
No one watches
Kovac?
Netflix shows, Dan.
I know. I mean, you guys illustrated that perfectly for me. Thank you.
No,
Like,
Netflix
sorry,
is
I didn't-
important to some degree to American pop culture.
No, I
Ish.
literally I drifted off for a second
Oh, it's okay.
listening to the skyscraper review, so I didn't actually catch what Dan
I drifted
said.
off when they talked about Nev Campbell being important.
What?
Guys illustrated that perfectly for me. Thank you.
No,
Like,
Netflix
sorry,
is
I didn't-
important to some degree to American pop culture.
No, I
Ish.
literally I drifted off for a second
Oh, it's okay.
listening to the skyscraper review, so I didn't actually catch what Dan
I drifted
said.
off when they talked about Nev Campbell being important.
What? Wait, no, I can actually just do it. The soundboard's here tonight.
I'm gonna be
I'm
honest.
sorry,
with you,
it
it
says
sounds like
party
a
at
good
5
way
when
to
has
pay.
Nev
It
Campbell
sounds
done
like a good
anything
way
that
to
was
pay
important to
$8
pop
for
culture?
like a 2-hour nap.
All right, so like I said, this film is aggressively dumb. I don't want to waste any more time on it. I'll probably eviscerate the shit out of this review anyway, just to make it flow a little bit better.
Yes,
but
I
Dan,
will.
throw a fucking number at this. This film is aggressively dumb. I don't want to waste any more time on it. I'll probably eviscerate the shit out. I'll probably eviscerate.
No,
I don't want to waste any more time.
so I want to cut it right there. Wasn't exactly the cleanest cut. One of the kind of 101 tips, especially for editing, as far as I'm concerned, is zero line editing. And I'll show you what I mean more about that in some other video, probably not this one, because when I do it in Goldwave, I will only cut when the track line is equal, dead equal with the center line. Because that means you're going to get an inaudible cut, I should say.
All that shit's got to go. Wow. Almost done. This can go completely, it looks like, because that's all track noise. Look at that. Look at that track. That is all track noise. Microphone. Oh, I accidentally boosted it instead of shrunk it. That would have sounded great. There we go. All right. So let's...
Illustrated that perfectly for me. Thank you.
I don't want to waste any more time on it. I'll probably eviscerate the shit out of this review anyway, just to make it flow a little bit better. But Dan, throw a fucking number at this piece of shit.
I walked out and I...
Yeah, minus 96. Okay.
Illustrated that perfectly for me. Thank you.
I don't want to waste any more time on it. I'll probably eviscerate the shit out of this review anyway, just to make it flow. We have Dan randomly saying to some cut thing. We'll get rid of that.
For me, thank you.
All right, so we're actually gonna clean this up just a touch again, and we're gonna can't really, not there, there we go. Because I was gonna cut it here, but see that's not on the zero line. That's what I mean when I say zero line. That's not on the zero line. So there's a little bit of noise there, so you can hear that. You'll hear that click in the edit when you pull it out. So you gotta avoid that shit. Oh shit. I gotta... Oh my god. Sign in, please. Hang on 1 second. Yep. Let's see. No. Yes, that actually was right. We'll get right back into this in just a moment here. Okay, okay. Oh my god. Woo! With 1 minute to spare. I forgot. I'm supposed to be sitting down. Yes, I am, Brentley. I forgot to cancel. I was supposed to go see Ant-Man and the Wasp again today at 3:55, and I just remembered right now. So I just went in and canceled the ticket. I mean, I have the A-list, so it's not like it was like money or whatever, but that leaves a film slot available for me now if I want to see something else before the end. So let's see, my tickets now. Yeah, so that's canceled now. Whew. Yeah, so now I can still see something else if I really, really wanted to. Yes, I am editing the episode of the Epic Film Guys podcast here. So let me jump back in here. And basically, we're ready to merge these two sections together here. So like I said, zero line editing. You want to make sure you're only editing on the zero line. You don't want audible clicks in your edits, because if you have audible clicks, you can hear them and it makes it sound stupid. I've listened to shows, no kidding, where they will use a truncate silence tool, but they'll use it poorly. And what I mean by that is there will be like an audible background noise, like an air or whatever, some kind of noise that's constant in the background. And those kinds of things, microphones pick them up at varying levels all over the place. So when you do that kind of stuff and you use a truncate silence tool poorly, then what it'll do is it'll cause audible clicks. So you'll listen to somebody saying a sentence and it'll be like, you know, I'll read the hydrated bot. It's like, you've been live for just over 2 hours. By this point in your broadcast, you should have consumed at least 8 ounces. It sounds like that, and you can hear the audible click in between there where they paused every time they spoke, and it sounds terrible. It sounds utterly, utterly, utterly terrible. Did Bill just cheered 5 biddies. I don't have cheer emotes up on this scene. Why do I not? Where my biddy cup at? Biddy cup! Oof. Wow. Well, there's your little kappa, Bill. I don't know why I don't have
the biddy cup in here. Let's shrink that down though. We don't need it to be that big. There we go. We're gonna put that right underneath me right there. Thank you for the biddies, Bill. Love you. Okay. So yeah, that's. Now let's take a listen to this. I don't want to waste any more time on it. I'll probably eviscerate the shit out of this review anyway, just to make it flow a little bit better. But Dan, throw a fucking number at this piece of shit.
I walked out and I messaged you and I said that was certainly a movie, and normally that means 5 or 6 for me. But as I slept on it, it's like a 4.
Yeah,
maybe even a 3.
I came out of this movie like almost on the edge of recommending it, but then the more I sat and thought about it, I'm like, why are there no on-site controls for the fire system? And that fire was burning for so long, there's no way that when you turn it back on at the end of the movie, it's just magically all going to be working perfectly fine and put the fire back out.
But Nick, The Rock was in danger and needed the fire system
That's
to
very
work
true. The Rock
exactly
was
the
in
way it
danger.
did.
So, like, literally, no, I'm giving it like a 4. Fuck yourself. Don't go see this movie, please, for the love of God. Just watch Die Hard again, because Die Hard's fine. It's
be
way
way
If
better
you
than
want a
this.
fun The Rock movie, go watch Jumanji.
That is a great movie. Welcome to the Jungle.
Okay.
That was a great movie. I love that movie. It is 10. I don't know what John said here, but again, we're in review wrap mode, so we need to just get there. Die Hard again, because Die Hard's fine. It's way better
If you
than
want a
this.
fun The Rock movie, go watch Jumanji.
That is a great movie. Welcome to the Jungle.
Okay.
That was a great movie. I love that movie. It is 10 times the movie that this piece of shit is. So we're going to roll into a quick break for some EFG history. And then when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk a little bit about The Dark Knight. And it's time to rate The Batman. All right. And that's actually the end of that clip there. So we've just got the one outtake here. We'll keep this. I'll try to maybe repurpose it for something at some point later. Like I said, we're going to leave a small gap here. Like, that's about enough. So that's, what? Like, 10-second gap. That way it'll leave that as a, blanked out line there. Same thing with the what are you drinking segment. Again, I've got to fix that in Goldwave. So let me actually go ahead and export this really quick. Save the project first. We managed to get this to a clean 27 minutes and 59 seconds from 38 minutes and change. So over 10 minutes of content cut. And that's going to actually decrease even more once we clip this out of here. So this actually is where 26:52. So we're talking 27 minutes even pretty much. Probably more like 26 and a half once I fix the what are you drinking segment as well. So let's export. And we're going to change the name of this to Combined Audio Part 1. And again, you guys can't see these windows because OBS. Thanks. All right, so there we go. So we're going to export this really quick. And I was going to see that last weekend, but my friends wanted to see Sorry to Bother You. Brantley, you would have been better off seeing literally anything else because it was terrible. It literally was god-awful. So you did not miss anything. It is, as I said numerous times in this review, it is aggressively dumb. Aggressively dumb. I wish I had a better scene set up here. And I don't, unfortunately. Oh, there we go. Hey. So yeah, I can just switch over to that. Podfix live stream. Oof. Skype. What? Why is there? I don't know. I don't know. Oh. Wait, can I? So yeah, we're going to export this really, really quickly here, and then I actually want to jump into Goldwave and kind of show you one more thing. Teasing the fan art I have for you guys. What is this going to be, Bill? Is it some kind of big, like, 3D thing? Looks kind of cool. Is this what you're doing instead of working, Bill? I'm using I'm on my desktop, Dan, and I have not touched OBS on my desktop since the live stream for The Cure, except for when I built this scene yesterday for this stream thing. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Once again, underwater beats is what you're hearing. Actually, no, the Podfix logo was not still there. No, because I deleted the Podfix logo from my computer. So that was not still there. But just waiting for Premiere to finish up here. Premiere should finish up in just a couple moments, and then I want to pop open Goldwave really quick. So I can kind of show you Goldwave's interface. Actually. We're going to actually bring up Goldwave here. Oh, we're going to close out Premiere. Boom. And now this is Goldwave that I've got here in the background. I don't understand what is happening. But what I'll do while I'm waiting for this is I'm actually going to bring up... This is the pre-roll. So this is what I did yesterday when I was in Premiere. See that populating in there. And so yeah, so what I mean when I talk about zero line editing and things like that. FYI 7/31/18 is Harry Potter's 37th birthday. Nice. Oh, hang on. Oh, wait. I'm still waiting for this thing to finish exporting anyway. Alright. Sorry about that. I was ordering Sweet Frog. Sweet Frog, which is delicioso. Correction, 38th. Yeah, you know what, Brentley? It would be really great to release another Harry Potter fucking minisode if I could get Justin or the Sauce to sit down and actually record one. It'd be super awesome. Super great. But the chances of that happening are like... Got about 30 seconds before this is actually done. So I'm going to close this out on Goldwave. And we're going to... Actually, and you know what I need to do? Goldwave. And I need to shrink this window just a little bit. Actually, we can just make it the size of this there. There we go. I cannot get them to sit and actually record a thing. I can't do it. They won't do it. It's super, super frustrating, but they won't do it. Sweet Frog the ice cream, yes. Ada's there right now, so she just called me and she was like, what do you want?
All right, so there we go. So Premiere, I'm done with Premiere, so we're going to close Premiere for now. I mean, obviously, I'm going to have more segments and stuff to do. But, like, yeah, like, I'm going to have to rewatch Goblet of Fire again, and I hate Goblet of Fire so much. I'm going to have to rewatch it again just because they are taking legitimately forever to get around to freaking scheduling recording this stupid thing. So let's go ahead and pop Goldwave open there. So there we go. There's our track. And I'm actually going to cut the audio down. There we go. And then we're going to save. And now, if you guys remember, I did this on purpose. I left the What Are You Drinking segment here, and I kind of parsed it out because it's going to go into that video. So we're actually going to do this, and we're going to do this. That's a start marker, finish marker. We're going to copy, and we're going to hit paste new up here at the top, and it's going to paste it as its own separate track. And then we're going to do save. You guys can't see the save window, obviously, but we're going to do What Are You Drinking audio. So there we go. So now I can cut that out, and we're actually going to open up something in here. And I'm actually going to kind of just move it to speed I normally move instead of trying to explain it at the same time. And you guys just keep up, okay? If I could find the thing. There it is. So, all right. So now what I like to do, even though I play this on the soundboard whenever we do it, I like to come in. All right, and we're going to start with the E, F, G. We're going to start with the E, F, G. I'm actually going to get rid of
newbie.
all right and.
She's never been on the show before, but she's drinking.
We're just going to cut that whole thing right out of there. And we're going to come to a fresh copy of this up here. We're going to mix it right in. At about 6 1/4 is where I usually do it, right at the end. Believe it or not, I do have a very specific time frame on that clip where that gets edited into the show every single time. All right, so here we go. So now let's come in here. So why don't we, lady and gentlemen, jump over into a little thing that we love to do every single week here on the Epic Film Guys podcast. All right, so now this is the gap, and now I got to find the rest of it. As the video review starts, and I do a sync. We're going to get rid of that.
Remember, everybody clap.
No, I don't need anybody else to do a sync. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. There's my video check. All right, so it is time, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to What Are You Drinking out of there. Bop. And again, you'll notice when I talk about zero line editing, when I talk about this on Goldwave, you can see here, see this section right here, how it's dead even with the line. It's dead even, but this, you can see a little something. You can see a little something there. If you cut it right there, if I cut that part out, you're going to hear a little click when you hear it in playback. When I do that, you're not going to hear it in playback. That's why I do that. But it's very, very important when you're doing any kind of podcast editing to edit on that zero line. Because you want to make sure that you're not going to hear audible clicks. The best thing that I think an audio editor can do is to never be noticed. You know, I think like CGI designers and stuff like that will say that all the time. And if you think about like a modern film, there's so many things in a film that you don't know that are CG that actually are CG. Like little tiny elements that they polished up or cleaned up with CGI that you never know about. That's the hallmark of great effects. And I think that's the hallmark of great editing as well. You can't tell it's there, especially in terms of audio editing. You can't hear those audible clicks. And I will personally not listen to shows where they're very evident. All right, so now, what are you drinking? There we go. So that's what we got to cut in. We've got a lot of stuff to get through on the show tonight, especially when we talk about the Batman. And when we talk a little bit about the Dark Knight, that'll be a little bit later in the show. We're going to cut that whole piece off of there. And we're going to come into the What Are You Drinking piece here. And actually, part of this is going to be for YouTube, so we're going to... Every single week, whenever we do What Are You Drinking on the Epic Film Guys podcast, we're going to drop these video reviews for you guys, just for you guys.
Nope.
And
Ask your boss.
Email your manager, your direct supervisor, and the CEO of your company. Yo, what's a blue waffle? The CEO of the company doesn't know. He might. So yeah, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and hit that little bell icon so you can be notified.
He might.
So yes, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and hit that little bell. Get that right out of there. and then we're gonna go like so. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do what's called a mix, and I'm just gonna mix this right into the track right there. We've got a lot of stuff to get through on the show, right like so. So now it doesn't matter if you're doing zero line there or not, because all you're doing is blending the track that I copied, which is What Are You Drinking, and I'm sorry, the track that I copied, which is the rest of the show, and then into the What Are You Drinking. So it just overwrites each other. They lay right on top of each other. All right.
I'm back.
So there we go.
You can rally. Give me back.
We're going to start with the Again, this is the rest of the show. Shh, keep it down. There we go. And we're going to go right over here, gentlemen, for What Are You Drinking? Again. There we go. And we're going to do Drinking.
I'm back.
Perfect. Because I like to still have track overlap. Some people will probably tell you that they don't like that. They want to hear everything isolated, especially for sound drops. I don't. I want everything to have at least a little bit of an overlap because I like it to be seamless that way, and I like it to be smooth that way. Where, what are you drinking? And the sound clip starts before I finish saying drinking. I can do it live on the soundboard, but because the sound clip also exists on my track when I run post-production processes, it can just ever so slightly tweak the sound, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want it to sound like it sounds normally. So that's why we end up doing it the way that we do. So now we've got this What Are You Drinking segment in here, and now if you guys also remember, this is an outtake.
What I want in exchange for seeing this movie in theaters is
cut, paste new, and then we're going to just save this. I've got a special folder inside of my Epic Film Guys directory, and there's an outtake in here from episode 53. So next week, episode 153, that outtake will officially be 100 episodes old, and I've still never used it. That's just how much excess audio I end up generating sometimes. So there we go. So that's the outtake is saved. We're going to close out of that old What Are You Drinking piece that I saved. And now we've just got the combined audio track again, and I'm just going to save that by itself. So now that I've folded that together, and I've still got to do a little bit of a rough edit on it, but now that I've done that, we're down to 25 minutes and 41 seconds. Again, 38 minutes was the length of this track, 38 minutes and change when we started. And if you guys remember, at 30:40, there was something that I wanted to fix.
You know why? Pills.
We haven't even gotten John that drunk yet, ladies and gentlemen. Just wait for it. All right, so as I said up there at the top of the show, we are tonight reviewing Chinese. All right, so as I said up there at the top of the show, we are tonight reviewing Chinese Die Hard. So, all right, so as I said up there at the top of the show, we are tonight reviewing. The problem with Adobe, the problem with Premiere is it doesn't allow you to get as close as this lets me get. Look how close I can get. That's what, like 10,000ths of a second? Like, I can get close on this. You can't get that close in Premiere, so that's why I like to do fine-tune edits like that. So now that's going to sound... Just wait for it. As I said up there at the... And instead of that, we had this. Wait for it. All right, so as I said up there at the top of the show, you know, it's just... We're going to redo that, and we're going to get rid of that. And it just sounds that much better. It just sounds so much better. So now let me find...
Comics are great.
Oh, there's the crickets. We're going to start with the EFG newbie. And now what I always do, believe it or not, is I edit this at 2x speed. So here we go. FG
newbie. We've never been on the show before, but she's drinking a goddamn good beer, so we're going to pitch it over to her first. Miles, what do you got there? I got a left-handed brewing company, Milk Stout and Nitro America Stouts. Woo! It is delicious, though. I'm not giving it a fucking lie. Love this beer. I need a sauce for meatloaf with that over on the rest of the podcast. Holy shit, hold on. Wait, I need you.
It's delicious, though. I'm not even gonna fucking lie. Love this beer.
I made a sauce for meatloaf with that over on the restaurant podcast. I totally did.
Holy shit! Hold
this
on.
This is just my mouthfeel, by the way.
I need you to stop. I need you to say that recipe because I'm making meatloaf on Friday.
What episode was that? That was like episode 5, I think, of the restaurant.
I'll send it. Whatever it is, you need to find it and send it. Now, usually, I'd like to drink.
Somebody who I know has beer and liquor on reserve just in case he needs because he's prepared. John, what are you drinking tonight? I'm drinking a peanut butter milk stout from, damn, who the fuck is this from? Tailgate Brewing Company. Damn, who the fuck is this from? Now, does it actually taste like peanut butter? I need to know, as a peanut butter lover, does this actually, is it good? Or is it shit? I mean, you know, it's pretty good. Yeah? I like it. Do you think you
could eat that with a jelly sandwich and it would be just as delicious?
If you ate it with an actual peanut butter and jelly
I
sandwich,
think
yes.
there's just like a 2.5 second gap there. I don't know why.
Be just as delicious.
If you ate it with an actual peanut
butter and jelly sandwich. He's really thinking about making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Now I'm thinking about making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Damn it. He'll dunk one of the slices of bread. It's a Tailgate Brewing, you said, John? Yeah, it's Tailgate Brewing Company. It's 5.8. Nice. Nice. All right, our very own director, Brennick.
Tailgate Brewing, you
Yeah.
said, John?
Yeah, it's Tailgate Brewing Company. It's 5.8.
No.
Tailgate Brewing Company. It's
We're gonna cut this part out of
5.8.
here.
Nice.
So instead of him saying tailgate and then correcting himself, we're just going to correct it so it just sounds like
Tailgate
this.
Brewing, you
Yeah.
said, John?
Tailgate Brewing Company. It's 5.8.
Nice.
Nice.
Much cleaner.
Nice.
Much
All right,
cleaner.
our very own director, Brennick, cannot drink in his house for reasons.
Good for you.
We're gonna
So-
leave it at that.
We love you, Dan. So we love you, Dan. So
I'm going to cut
I
out where
am
she
drinking
says, "Good for
tonight, and
you,"
I
and where Dan says we're going to leave it at that. So we're just going to skip right past it, like gloss right over
in
it.
his house for reasons. We love you, Dan.
So I am drinking tonight, and I actually this was a 15 pack I picked up for about $18. And, oh, thank you. I like it. Yeah, your video cam shows it. That's 15 pack. As a matter of fact, I might have an idea now. I don't even want to know what the hell you're thinking about, John. I am drinking 21st Amendment Brewing's Down to Earth Session IPA. Right?
Yeah, that's why I'm cutting it, Bill. Because I mean, and we of course we know, like, because we know Dan and like he's told us, like we understand, but that's not my thing to talk about on my show, especially. And I'm certainly not going to leave like that in there because, like, if you knew the full story, like you would not have that tone. So yeah,
15 pack. Whew.
Oh, thank you. I like it. Yeah, your video cam shows it. That's 15 pack. As a matter of fact, I might have an idea now. I don't even want to know what the hell you're thinking about, John. I am drinking 21st Amendment Brewing's Down to Earth Session IPA. Or I should say I was, because man, I'm getting down there at the bottom. Yeah, they sell this in a 15 pack, one of those like overpacked 12 packs or whatever. A 15 pack. Yeah, a 15 pack. Here's. I'm not the one with fucking packages. Okay, I boycott 21st Amendment. Oh, a lot of breweries do it, actually. Founders does it. So a lot of breweries do it. Overstuffed fucking packs. It's 12, 24, 6, and that's it. Hey, listen, you know what? It's 5. There's an different beers. It's 3 of 5 instead of 3 of 4. So I will take one extra beer in a pack. This is actually really, really good. It's a session IPA, so it's very light, very drinkable. It's got very light kind of citrusy notes up front. It's not anything that's like super pungent or anything like that. And it's the kind of IPA that you can drink on a hot summer night like this, which is just nasty, shitty, dirty, filthy, disgusting. I don't have a fucking blue waffle. Exactly, Caleb. We're going in a different direction. Such as there's 3 of you have one chick here, and the 3 of you have mentioned blue waffles more than I have. And Caleb keeps doing it. I mean, Caleb's only making the mentions. I'm Caleb. I'm in a restaurant and my Caleb talking about blue waffles. Well, I go take a beer break. So BRB, right back. Honestly, if the listeners haven't heard of a blue waffle, while you're at work tomorrow, you should take the time to look it up on your internet.
while you're at work, fucking god damn it,
On the work internet.
do not Google
Actually,
blue waffle.
no, you're right. Don't Google it. Ask your boss. Email your manager, your direct supervisor, and the CEO of your company. Yo, what's a blue waffle,
Yeah, the
dog?
CEO of the company doesn't know.
He might.
All right,
We've
so what
got
we're
a
gonna
lot
do
of stuff to get through on the show tonight.
This is the end of the
especially when
piece
we
here.
talk about the Batman.
So we're gonna cut that wholesale. And we're gonna select this close up.
Doesn't know.
There's still some laughter going on there in the background. I think that's John. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna mix this track room right over the top of it, so that laughter will kind of stay in the background.
He might.
We've got a lot of.
There we go. So that'll clean that up, and that was a little bit too much of a silence break for me.
Question for our fans, for our listeners, if you're listening, segment right up front. Dan, it's time to talk about Chinese diet. Question for our fans, for our listeners, if you're listening out there, have you?
So we can get rid of that.
Question for our fans, for our listeners, if you're listening out there,
Again,
have
this
you
is a huge
seen
gap
the
here.
movie Die Hard, starring Bruce Willis? I was waiting,
Yes.
like as if they're going to answer me.
Oh,
Yes.
No, that's right. That gap is actually deliberately there. All right, so most of the rest of this we finished in Adobe, so we really don't need to do much of anything else here except for we're going to trim off our end here, and we are going to fold in our intro and our segment outro, which is this guy. And we've got to fold in our Jordan Green intro. So we're going to select this track, and we're going to bring this guy up. And I always merge this at the beginning of the track at exactly 48 seconds. You can time that, I promise. Every single week, it's always exactly the same. the music's not quite finished fading. It finishes fading at about 50, but it's enough to be like, okay. And now we're going to take our explosion. This, I keep meaning to drop the volume on the default track, and I keep forgetting. Actually, no, I don't really want to. I want to leave it the same. So now, this is again still our intro file, so we don't want to save over this. We got to make sure we move it. And it's time to rate the Batman. I kind of want to do this right on Batman, so we'll do Batman, and then we'll just do a mix right here. A little bit lower. Batman. There we go. So now this will lead into where our EFG history leads into later. Actually, no, Dad, don't do that, man. It's too quiet. It's too quiet. I think you can still hear it fine. It's time to rate the Batman. Yeah, you can still hear it. It's fine. So there it is. So now we're going to select all, copy, and we're going to go back to combined audio part 1. Delete, paste, because now that track is finalized. And that is how we finish off a segment of the Epic Film Guys podcast. And when I finish running the EFG history stuff together, and I cut that with its segment break music and everything like that, we will mix that right in there into that track. But that's, boom, combined audio part 1. That's it. That's how we do it, folks. On the Epic Film Guys podcast. That's how I do it, I should say. Justin doesn't edit the show. But I want to thank everybody out there for listening. You guys are awesome. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the music here for just a moment. The underwater beats. I really appreciate it. If you guys like this kind of stuff, it'll be on Twitch. It'll be on YouTube. Let us know, because I'll keep doing it. Like, it's not hard for me to just pull up the thing and stream while I'm doing content editing. This is a little bit more thorough than I ever normally go with an edit, but at least gives you kind of a window into my process. So like I said, I really, really do appreciate it. Thank you guys very much for watching.